So on your level finders, if you flip it over to the back, there's a sample to give you an idea of percentages of gray. So go ahead and look at the percentages of gray. Anything less than 25%, you do not need to formulate gray coverage. So for my hair, I'm less than 25, right? I'm probably like 10 if we were going to number it. Enough to be annoying, but not enough to do anything about our color. So if it's less than 25%, your formula does not need to change. Like I don't need to worry about it. I will get enough coverage with less than 25%.
So then the only reason would be to do like
We're going to talk about the double numbers.
that's where this is already
So in all color lines, neutral or natural, whatever they want to call it, is gray coverage.
That's great.
That is for gray coverage. When you step to the double pigments or the gray coverage line, because all color lines have then a gray coverage line, when you step to that is when they are struggling to have a gray. It's more intense. It's going to have more pigment and dye load to fill that hair that's missing pigment.
So will it look darker when you apply it? Like
Yes.
say if they're like a level 4, and then if I do like the
440.
440, and then we'll look like a 3.
It can.
Can you dilute it with? No.
So the rule of thumb that I want you to live by is if it's less than 25% gray, you don't have to do anything about it. If it's 25% or more, then you have to match neutral in your formula. And I'm going to give you examples. Now, we do understand that all hair is different, and this is a average rule. And if you come across problems with it, then you can increase or decrease the amount of neutral you put in your formula. Okay? Yes. So, for gray coverage, are you measuring in grams or ounces?
Ounces.
Okay. If we're measuring in ounces, we're going to base it on 2 ounces of color, which means then we have how much developer in our bowl if we have 2 ounces of color. If we have 2 ounces of color in our bowl, how much developer do we put in our bowl as a standard? 2 ounces. Okay. So this is based on 2 ounces of color. If you mix less than 2 ounces, you have to adjust it accordingly. Okay? So 25% gray, 50% gray, 75% gray, and above.
So what does that say in the top?
2 ounces of color, and then it says 25% gray, 50%, 75, and above. So in a 2 ounce formula, a half ounce is going to be neutral for stroke 0. Let's just do stroke 0. I don't even want to put the N.
This is 1 and 2 ounce. A half ounce.
Half ounce of stroke 0. Because that's a quarter of your formula, or 25% of your formula. Hi!
Good morning.
Good morning. If it's 50% gray, it's going to be 1 ounce of stroke 0. And if it's 75% or more, it's going to be 1.5 ounces of stroke 0. I'm going to break that down for you further. Just write it down and then I'll,
Yeah, I'm like stroke 0.
I'm gonna go there. So step 1 of our color formula was where are we starting? What level are we working with? Step 2 is what in that pair, what type of gray do we have? And then what do we do about the gray? So let's break down what is stroke 0. Wella colors are written on a tube like this. It will say 7 stroke 0 1. Is that what it says on the box? You've seen that, right? What does this number represent? That first number before the stroke, what does that number represent? The level.
That they're already at. No.
No, the level of color in the tube. We're simply talking about tubes of color and their names. They're named by 2 or 3 numbers. So any number before this, which is called a stroke, is the level. All the numbers on that right side of the stroke represent the tone or the color in the tube of color that you're using. Tone, hue, color, whatever you want to call it. Depends who's saying. So it's important to know what these numbers represent. So stroke 0 is natural.
Gray ash is 1, right?
Yep. Very good. Gray or ash is 1. Does anybody know what stroke 2 is? Matte, which is green. Stroke 3, gold. Stroke 4, red violet. Red. Stroke 5, red violet. Stroke 6, violet. Stroke 7,
Brown.
it is brown, but what kind of brown? Not light brown. Because light, medium, dark comes from this number over here, the level. Warm brown.
What does it say for level 2?
Matte.
Matte.
Not level 2, stroke 2.
Stroke 2.
Warm brown 7.
Yep. I say warm brown because it has a reddish tone to it. And I'll show you where these live on the color wheel so that you can kind of get an idea. Stroke 8, blue. And stroke 9 is cendre, or it's also violet, and we'll talk about the difference between this one and this one. They call them different names, but you can put, I did this to put them on the color wheel for you so that you can reference a color. So 6 and 9 both live on in the violet family, but the stroke 6 is a stronger diluted violet. It's deeper and it's more powerful. The stroke 9 is a softer violet and it's less powerful. So it would be the difference between like a deep violet and a lilac.
And that's for stroke 9.
Yeah, this is like a deep one. I'm sorry, stroke 9 is the softer. Softer, more like a lilac. This is more like a deep violet.
I remember Brenda told me like an easy way to learn it is 6. It's like below. So
Yes.
It's more heavier.
Yep,
and
it's
then
just like this.
Yeah.
So if you look at the loop on the 6, if you fill this up, it's low and heavy. If you look at the circle on the 9, it's high and light, like a blue. Yes. Because they are similar. One's called cendrite and one's called
Violet.
anyway, they're both. It's really the best, as a colorist, you don't need to know the name, you need to be able to put it on this color wheel to reference it. So they both live here. So when you're looking at this color wheel, it's also kind of divided in cool and warmth, right? Blues, violets, greens are going to all be cool. Reds, yellows, oranges are all going to be warm. So when you're looking at a warm brown, that's going to live on this side of the neutral, up in here. It's not quite yellow, it's not quite red, it's not quite orange, but it's a brown that has warmth. And then your stroke 1 is gonna live down over here. It's a cool brown. Does that make sense? The 3 colors that you're gonna use the most are stroke 0, stroke 1, and stroke 7 when you're living in a safe area. When you start branching out, you'll use all of them, but that's what people tend to do. Yes? So, does this make more sense? A half an ounce of stroke 0. Now that we've broken down what stroke 0 is. Yes or no? Yes. No? Okay, so this is neutral. Tell me how you make neutral. Equal parts of red, blue, and yellow. So because you have equal parts of all 3 primary colors, that's going to be the one that puts the pigment back into the gray that's missing. So you need that to cover gray, otherwise you're not going to get gray coverage.
So you're going to use that every single time?
If you have gray.
Okay.
And then you add your enhancement to it. If they want to be red, you put neutral with red to cover the gray. And how much is determined by how much gray they have. Does that make sense? So if they have 75% gray, it's like almost white.
Yeah.
So you're going to put 1.5 ounces of neutral at the level you want to be, and then a half an ounce of red, or red-brown, or whatever that enhancement.
So is that like for that, now we make pictures, we use red can, so we do 7NN and then just 7N for her formula. So is the 7NN, that's for the gray. And then the 7N.
That's all for gray though.
Enhancement.
You're not really enhancing anything with neutral,
No.
so they're just playing it safe by using neutral. And you will see some formulas are straight neutral, it's a safe bet. But if it's brassy, then you could put something in it to get rid of the brass.
So you can.
You would put something else, like if it's orange, right, orange brass, what do you need to put in the bowl? Blue. So then you could come over here and add stroke 8 to your neutral to cool out your end result. Does that make sense? That's where you're taking this and coming over here and using this. It takes time. It's okay.
Because I'm like,
So,
Question.
technically what you're saying is like every client that comes in and has gray, they have to have that dash and a zero because it's natural and you want it to cover. And if you want to enhance something, you would add,
Whatever color you want.
oh, okay.
Gold. You want gold, you add gold. You
Oh.
want red, you add red. It's understanding how much to put in the bowl in
Oh.
comparison to the gray.
But you would always have.
You have to have neutral if there's more
Neutral.
than 25% gray, or you won't get gray
Oh,
coverage.
that makes sense.
And the reason I focus on gray coverage so much is because it's a big portion of our clientele is gray. So you have to be aware of how am I going to cover that gray. Okay, I'm gonna give you like 5 minutes to get up, walk around, because I'm about to fill you with even more information than you've already just filled your head with. Because we've only done the first step, like the first step to formulation is what level are we, what grade percentage. So I'm gonna give you a second, get another coffee, get some water, I don't know. But just 5 minutes, I'm gonna run to the restroom while we do that.
I just realized.
Huh?
Neutral is,
Oh,
it's a brown or a blonde at that level. Just, it doesn't reflect yellows, it doesn't reflect,
Just nothing.
yes. But what you could do,
That's why my.
there's some swatches in there. There's some swatches in there that I have. We'll find them. And then, or actually zero, let's say stroke 0, to like do some different ones, and then you can just see.
I think I'm the same with the but I can't, I don't see.
But this is, grab the book and look at the neutral states.
Okay, come here. I have something I can tell you too.
Oh, go see Chris.
Like, you know how there's a white wall? You can do a pure wall. You know just walking along this. Just like, that's the same thing that happens with every shade of color. Because you can have brown, you can have variation, and that's the little rock you can have gold. That's what makes it. Same with like a wall. The wall control would be just plain. gold, it's not red, it's just neutral. When you get your nails done, you pick a new color. It's really bad.
There's already something complicated.
Okay, so at any level you go to, if it's a blonde, it's just like a blonde, it's not gonna be a golden blonde, it's gonna be a pure gold neutral.
I'm a little different. They're good, right?
All right, tell me what you said. Yeah. That's a great. No, it's just a visual, because they do need visuals.
So like, this is
I think thinking neutral means a color. Neutral doesn't mean a color. Neutral means
It
it doesn't reflect anything. It
Doesn't
just means
reflect.
it's the level that you think it would be with no additive pigment to it. So
Right.
It's not gold. It's
It's
not
nothing.
red.
Yeah, like look at it. Do
So
you
this
see
is- this
do you
is-
see gold there? Or do you see red there? Or do you just see browns and blondes? So then when you come into like this is your double pigment, so they're a little deeper. But now do you see how you can see gold reflection? Because they're gold. Now they have natural gold, so they're not super gold. But now look at when you move in here, these are ashes. See how they don't look at this, look at this. Start looking at what is that stroke one. It's an ash.
Oh, the ash. Okay.
So the best thing you can do first to really understand is learn
And there's
this
Jen, what's 16? Oh, like 1/6.
1/6.
Okay, yeah.
So it's ash, violet. Makes sense? So if you know what those numbers represent, it really helps.
Jen, come on. Wait, what's CV? What is CV? What is C? 9/6. CV.
Cendre. So
What is-
9.
What is Cendre?
Violet.
That's Cendre?
Yeah, I think it's.
Yeah, I think that
This
all
is
color
emo.
lines do this stuff.
This is emo. CRV. Okay. I get irate. I'm starting to. Okay.
You have to like visually see it.
Yeah. Because it's hard. That's where I get like scared.
Okay. Well, I'll wait for Andy. I did say 5 minutes.
But
I'm
then
ready to fill your brain with everything. But
These are never accurate because they're just white and white.
it's just a visual for you to see how gold, how red, how. Okay. I did just see this, and I remembered that we have this. Can I see this? Everything I'm telling you is right here. There's a stroke system in there. And it also is in a color to represent like what color it is. So it can help you say like, I need red. Okay, this is what kind of tube I need. I need violet. These are the kind of tubes I need. You know, so that helps you. And then here, this only has the stroke system on it. It does not have the level. Okay? But it shows you where every tube lives on the color wheel. How blue it is, how red it is, how orange it is. Do you see that? It like shows you. The closer into the center, the more brown you're going to be, the more neutral you're going to be. Does that make sense? So that's kind of how that works. And then here is the breakdown. And if you have two numbers, number 2 is the major tone of the color. number 3, right? So the first one is the major tone of the color. This one is the minor tone of the color. So this would be a level 5, red, gold. So you're gonna have a red orange color here.
So would like if it was just 4, would that be like a deeper red? Or
Not necessarily deeper, because when you're saying deeper, you're talking about lightness and darkness. So this right here is how dark it's going to be. But this is going to be more red than red orange if you didn't have that.
I see.
So 5-stroke-4 is going to be just straight red. 5-stroke-4-3 is going to be red yellow, which is going to have that coppery orangey feel to it.
Okay.
And then if you're questioning what the difference would be, then you can come over here and really dive into, this is what 4-3 looks like. And then look at, there's 3-4, so that's yellow first, right? So do you see the difference? So this, what she was saying, this is not true to tone in the sense of, like, this is done on white hair. So you can't just pick this out, put it on your client, and have this color. That's why you have to that's why step 1 is, what am I dealing with? What hair am I dealing with? And then figuring out what to put in the bowl. But this is just a value of color, where you can see, like, these are more violety reds. Do you know what I'm saying? So then in these right here with the double numbers means more intense. Anytime you see a double number in front of the stroke, it's more intense. You're going to see it in your reds, and you're going to see it in your neutrals. Your neutrals is for better gray coverage, for someone who has coarse, stubborn gray. Your reds are going to be for someone who wants more of an unrealistic red, more of a fantasy red. Make sense?
So the front numbers, would they always be like the same too? Like,
Yes. That just tells you that that's an intense level 5.
So then, like, that's why there's like 55 stroke 0 or like double, you know?
Yes, the
Not
double
all
in
of them.
front means it's in a more intense color. It doesn't tell you what color it is, it tells you an intense level 5, and then whatever's behind it is going to be more intense.
Oh.
So if you chose a 7-7 stroke 4-6, that's an intense level 7 red violet. You're getting a red, you're getting a red violet.
I really need to be a stupid question, but for those doubles, would that only be for grays or you could that?
The neutral are for grays.
Yes.
I wouldn't use the neutral for anyone's but grays. These reds, these doubles and the reds are for more of a fantasy vibrancy.
So what's her name? PJ, you use
I use the doubles.
doubles because she's writing her fades faster?
Yes.
Okay. Alright, I'm getting it.
Yep, these are for more for PJ. The double neutrals are more for your gray coverage. So now that you're starting to understand these things, looking at every formula is going to help you understand what's going in the bowl and why it's being chosen. Does that make sense? So I'd really like you not to stop doing what you did last week, where you took a picture, you looked at it after. You can ask your stylist questions. You can bring it in and ask me questions about it, trying to understand what's happening in every one of those processes, because that's the learning that can be happening while you're shampooing and cleaning and whatever else isn't. But all that knowledge is happening, or all that stuff is happening every day. I want you to be participating in those things, and it only takes a couple of seconds. And I did notice here, like, she would take the before picture and she'd be like, I need an after picture before that lady leaves. So like working together to, and then you can use those formulas together because you're both seeing it. You know, if you two work the same schedule, knowing that's what you're working on, help each other. And encourage your stylist to help you too. Because at the beginning of the week, I was really like, this is where we're at. And I was on it and I was like, come take this picture. And by the end of the week, it was gone for me. You know what I mean? Like, we were in it. So if you help each other, I see a big difference. So, anyway. Is that helpful? Okay. So before we can figure out what else to formulate or put in the bowl, we have to understand our options. So there are different types of hair color. You've heard of them: temporary, semi-permanent, demi-permanent, and permanent. The question is, do you understand what they do and what their differences are? So I want you to kind of write these categories out, and we're going to talk about each one, and then we're going to talk about what we have here to use in those categories. And I'm not going to go into all the details of fantasy color because we don't do enough of that. That would just take us on another journey right now that I don't want to be on. Do you know what I'm saying? I want you, it would fill your head with too much. Okay, so tell me something you know about temporary hair color.
That's
Doesn't last. Fades.
What?
Doesn't last and fades.
Doesn't last, it fades.
those are things.
Some are temporary. An example of temporary hair color would be the hairspray. Temporary literally lasts one shampoo.
Oh, okay.
That's it. We don't have really anything that we use that's temporary because even Sky can last longer than, our Sky shampoo, which can, I would put that, the only thing under temporary is our Sky Violet shampoo. Temporary does this. So these are my hair strands. This is the inside of the hair, inside the cortex. This is the cuticle layer. You with me? So temporary hair color, it just sits on the outside. It's real big. You can see the natural through it, or you can see the hair color through it. And then you wash the hair and all of that disappears. The only time that doesn't disappear is when the hair is compromised and the cuticle has been shed off. So that's when you see like a Halloween hairspray kind of hang on, right? It like stains a blonde because they've been bleached out or been in the pool too much. That would be when it would actually stain. But it should just, in its core, the way it's made on a healthy hair strand, it would just wash off. Can you spray Halloween hairspray in your hair and get it vibrant end result?
I've never tried, but I don't.
Why?
Super.
It doesn't have the capability of making your hair lighter. You can coat it, right? You can or those those colored gels.
Yeah.
You could coat it with those, but it's going to be way more prominent on, say, Margarita's hair than on our hair, right? I never could get the cool, fun sprays at Halloween because my hair was too dark. So the only thing that we have that lives in this world is Sky Violet. The shampoo, everybody knows that's what I'm talking about, right? Yes. Okay, So then you have semi-permanent. Tell me what you think semi-permanent is.
I'm just gonna go back to temporary. You know how they're blonde and you put like purple shades on it and it just stays like purple in their hair? That's temporary. You know when someone's blonde and they look like that?
When the sky has stained their hair.
Yeah, that's temporary.
It will wash out. It has stained their hair because their cuticle is compromised.
Okay, so it's kind of
Similar, yes. If they keep washing with Sky, they'll just keep depositing and depositing and depositing, and you'll have a different issue altogether.
okay.
So you can't overwash with like a.
And then don't.
And you can make white hair look purple
Yeah.
if they wash with it too much. And some are not made to use every shampoo, but they use them every shampoo. So like Overtone, what's that? And my mind is not working for the brand I'm thinking of. But some of them, you can't use them every time or they will turn purple while they're on. And they'll come back to you and their hair will be purple. They don't understand the concept of they can't wash their hair every time with that particular brand because the dye load is more intense. So that's okay. So semi-permanent. What do you think that is?
Kind of introducts the client to the new version of the color, the sheer of the change.
Okay, so you
Because
could
it's like
short-lived.
Mhm.
It's gonna wear off. What are you capable of with semi-permanent color? What can you do with it? When we're talking about hair color, thinking of lifting and depositing. Lifting meaning going lighter, depositing meaning going darker. Can semi-permanent color make someone's hair color lighter?
No.
No. It's only capable of going darker. So it can enhance the color. You can add reds to it or golds to it, but you're not going to make the hair lighter. And again, semi-permanent is similar to temporary in this sense. So semi-permanent color usually is considered something that lasts 6 to 8 shampoos. Okay? So it's very similar in the fact of this, but the dye molecules are a little bit smaller. and they latch themselves on a little better. And so then when the hair is washed, you know, the top ones come off and then the next ones, but they build themselves in there and tuck in. So that's why it lasts 6 to 8 shampoos.
What's an example of this?
What?
What's an example of this?
Some of our toners are semi-permanent. So the, yes. Most of them are semi-permanent, but some of them are semi. Relights is semi-permanent. We don't use a lot of it, but if somebody uses relights, that's semi-permanent. It's rare. Why would I want it to wash off in 6 to 8 shampoos? I'm going for longevity for until my next visit. So I personally am probably not using much semi-permanent by choice. So those, that's why I said I wasn't going to get to like fantasy, because like we have those tubes all the way at the top of our shelf that are called like Color Fresh Create, and I believe those live in the semi-permanent family, but I'm not using them in everyday life. So this is going to be 1 shampoo. This is going to be 6 to 8 shampoos. And this is categorizing hair color, not Wella. This is just types of hair color. And then we're going to break down the tubes of color that we have and what categories they fall in. Okay, so as an average. So demi-permanent, how is that different from semi-permanent? Because this is where the big difference that you want to think about. What's the difference between demi and semi?
This one is like a toner.
We use it for toning.
Yeah, refresh.
We use it to refresh old colors. So when my ends start to look brassy, I pull a gloss all the way through and I refresh the ends.
You can move it out also. Move the toner.
Nope.
And that means it's deposit on.
Okay.
Demi means deposit only. So deposit means darker only. It does not fully wash out of the hair. And I'm going to show you how that looks on the hair strand, but it does not fully wash out of the hair. So the way that a demi deposits on top of the hair strand is similar to the semi, right? It has all these little, but it also goes down into the outer edge of the vortex like this. Do you see that? So all of this will wash off, that's going to remain. So for example, my hair that has demi-permanent glosses over it and over it, I mean my hair is old, right? Say 5 years old, this hair down here. It's just been deposited on, deposited on, deposited on. If we tried to lighten it, that's in there. It's not coming out easily. I'm going to be a fun orange. So that's how that kind of works. So deposit only means we can only go darker. It lasts 4 to 6 weeks. What would determine whether it lasts longer or less?
How they take care of their hair.
How they take care of their hair.
How much of their washes.
How the more they wash it, the more they're taking it off. But there is some remaining, no matter how you slice or dice it. What can you use this for besides going darker? What kind of gray coverage can I get with demi-permanent color?
Sure. Like,
Will it cover 100% of the grays?
no, but on blend. Like you did when,
Yep. So this is for gray blending.
right.
This is for a client that wants low maintenance, but they want to change in their hair. But maybe they're not going to come back for a retouch. They only come back every 6 months.
Super soft and
So when it grows out and all of this washes off, all that's left is this stuff under here. So it's a soft, blurred line. It's not a skunk line where it's like, here's where I colored, here's where I didn't, and they haven't come back to me. It's also a great try-me gray coverage, meaning maybe somebody hasn't colored their hair before and they're transitioning into coloring. So this is going to be a younger client that is like, oh, I'm starting to see gray. What do I do? You don't want to put them into a 4-week, come back every 4 weeks. Now you have a root type situation. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So you want to give them a soft, make them feel younger. It's almost like putting lip gloss on without like committing to lipstick for the day. Do you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
I get it.
But so we can only go darker with this.
So I have a question. You guys use CT and then the shine fitting you refill with like a tanning house or CT.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
heavier still, but those are both demis.
Correct.
There's no difference.
The difference is the type of color and how they formulated that color to be, but it is both demi. So I want you to go in the back room, look at the color wheel or the color wall, and I want you to pick tubes of color. Everybody is going to pick whatever. You can just make sure they go back where they came from. For now, you're going to pick out tubes of color that are demi-permanent and bring them back. One from every line that you think is semi-permanent.
Jen,
Yep.
I use 7.7 on my hair. So if what if I wanted to go darker?
6-7.
I was thinking about that last night.
You change the level. You deepen the level. If you like the color,
I just like being dark now.
but you like the color, the warmth of it, but you want it darker. So you change the first number of your formula of the two, the 6.
That's only gonna focus on my level 7 highlight. It's not gonna touch my whatever I got going.
What are you using?
For my
CT
yeah.
or okay? So
But this is what I do.
this has the ability to budge your root.
Oh, it does. Oh, that was a lot. Very light blonde, pearl ash. What do you get?
Very like, what's it? No, not ash. No,
Pearl
pearl.
ash?
No, pearl.
Pearl?
Mhm.
Just pearl?
Just pearl ash.
Wait, 991?
I have 9, 12, 8 one.
Yeah.
You got the same?
Yeah. And I was like, oh, look what you have. And then,
Pretty much that's it. I cannot read it.
oh, you did?
Like, you what's this one? It's Denmark.
Yeah.
And here it says Denmark.
Violet ash.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
I mean, I just grabbed it, but I was like looking on the
I
phone.
like it.
And I think champagne.
Yeah.
I mean, not champagne, lemon. Because it's like a block. Oh no.
Okay, so you see this use all of these tubes of color used so many ways that it is hard to define. So I get it. Yeah.
I just found out that when
Hold on one second.
Me too, like a gloss, you know? And she explains
Okay.
It's more like a gloss. I mean,
So everyone has color touch and everyone has shinefinity.
I have a little.
Yeah, but everyone has these.
Oh.
So these two are demi-permanent colors. This one, if you look at on the tube, it says 1:1. What does that mean?
Equal parts development.
What does this one say on your tube? I saw it on
1 to 2.
the old boxes have it. Did they not put it on the new boxes? You're kidding me.
Mix 1 to 2 right here.
Yeah.
Oh, they just moved it. Okay. So then you can see that it has the 1 to 2 somewhere on your box. So they mix differently, but those are both demi-permanent colors. So when you're writing a formula, it's important to write what type of color you're actually using. So we in the formulas you might see CT, SF, but you have to identify what color you're actually using. Does that make sense? You can't just write, I use 6-7 in what?
Yeah.
So you have Color Touch and you have Shinefinity. Those are both demi-permanent color lines. And then you have this guy right here. Does Bayfront use this? I
think
know
they're-
you have them on the. I know you
Yeah.
have them on the wall, but I don't know how often they're used.
I feel like they're not used that much.
So this is like the interim between. It goes this for like strength. It goes this, then permanent color. This has more. It's a double pigment. So what am I going to use this for? For what? Gray coverage. This is going to be that client that I was using CT on, but they're starting to get more gray. But they're not quite ready to commit to every 4 weeks. So this is that step in between. It's not for everyone. Sometimes you have to jump right past this and go to permanent color. But that's where this lives. It is a demi-permanent color. It does mix 1 to 2, but it mixes differently in the sense of these are your Color Touch mixers. You have this, you have this. You have 6 percent, or sorry, 6 volume and 13 volume, or 1.9 and 4%. CT Plus is going to go with the stronger one. I need more coverage, it's going to go with the stronger one. CT can go with either. So think about that. When would I be using 6 versus 13 volume? Give me a service that I would use. Makes it 6 volume.
When you don't need that much coverage.
I don't need that much coverage. So I don't have any gray issues.
Glossing that.
I'm glossing the ends. Right. I'm toning the hair. Okay. So whenever I'm doing a gentle service that's going darker, some way, some shape or form, or changing the tone, I'm going to live in this world.
What about like clear?
A clear, I would use this.
Just use that.
This is 13 volume. What do we know about developer when we get to 10 volume? Does anybody know? 10 volume? What does 10 volume do? Say it again. Lifts up to 1 level. So if I put 13 volume, I'm going to budge the natural hair. Does that make sense? I'm not going to go from brown to blonde. Let's not get crazy. But I am going to budge the root. So if I tone with 13 volume, I'm definitely going to get some shift of a natural root.
So
Lighter. So I generally stick with this for only gray coverage and everything else. And if you've used Color Touch on the hair and you've put it on there and you've felt the end result, it's more combable, there's shine, there's so many like benefits. It's almost like a color conditioner, if you will, if you use it with this. If you use it with this, it is not the same. You are doing some damage. This isn't going to do damage. Make sense? But either way, you're mixing 1 to 2 with this. With Shinefinity, you have 2 different options. You have the brush and the bowl, and you have the bottle. This is 1 to 1. It doesn't actually tell us what the developer level is, but what you want to know is that this only mixes with this. You can't find another developer and mix it because the technology in this one is that the pH naturally goes down by the end of the service.
Is the only difference like the consistency?
In these two, yes. If you want it runnier, you're gonna mix it with the bottle. If you want it thicker, you're gonna mix it with the bowl and the brush. This can be used as a low light, a gloss, a toner, a refresh. It gives you very little gray coverage. In the levels 9 and 10, you're getting 0 gray coverage. As you get darker, because it's deeper, you can get some blending, but this is never gonna be your go-to to cover gray.
So let's say like a client says, oh, like my color's really don't like we can use.
And it has an array of colors, but it's a smaller palette of colors. You know, if you look, there's like a million color touch, and then there's like this little bit of Shine Infinity. But this is going to be softer, gentler, 0 damage, but it is sheer. When you're talking about, I have really brassy hair, and I need to tone it, this isn't gonna have the dye load that Color Touch has. That's when you're choosing which one over what I use. When you really can understand the difference between each color line. They both are capable of the same things. It's just choosing the right one for the right situation. Not all salons gives you all the choices. They'll usually carry one permanent color, one semi-permanent color, and that's it. Good luck, have fun. We have creative abilities with having Shine Infinity, Color Touch Plus, and then having multiple permanent color lines. So you have an array, it's understanding when to choose what to choose, that then you can really take advantage of it. Does that make sense? So anyway, so that's your demi-permanent color. So you have Color Touch and Shine Infinity. The big difference would be that I would use this one has 0 damage, and it has less coverage. This one I would use for better gray coverage, blending. This timing is 10 to 20 minutes. This timing can be anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes. This is not a demi-permanent color. It's used as a toner, but it is not a demi-permanent color. This one's gonna fall under your permanent, and so we'll talk about that.
Yeah, it says on the box. It says on the box.
Permanent, yes, it says. I was like, it says demi-permanent, did I miss something? I was like, whoa, I really don't have enough bubble. So I'm gonna have you take the tubes of color back. I'll keep these ones for now. Take the tubes of color back, put them exactly where you found them. How full is your head? Is your brain floating yet?
A little bit.
I know, it's a lot of information, but it's like, where, how do you start without having all the info, right? So now that you're starting to identify the colors when your stylus is mixing it, why'd you choose Color Touch? Why did you use Shine Infinity in this situation? So you can start to understand the choices that are being made and why they're being made. And they're going to use their artistic creativity to choose one way or another. And it's not right, it's not wrong, it's just what they're seeing and what they're choosing to use for. But but really having an understanding of that will help you to create an opinion, a professional opinion yourself, what you should do in this situation, what you should do in another situation. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have permanent color. Permanent color is completely different than the others because permanent color never goes away. Well, what does that mean? Because we can bleach it out, but once we put permanent color on the hair, we can never have it back where it was. We can't put some magic potion and get it back to its natural. Even when we go back to the natural, we're putting artificial color to make it appear like the natural, but it is not. There's artificial dyes in there. So once the hair has permanent color on it, it's limited. You can no longer go lighter with color. You're kind of stuck in a box. Does that make sense? So when you're choosing this for a guest, you need to make sure that it's the right choice. And you start the clock over every time you put it on the root of growing that out. Does that
So
make sense?
let's say is there such like, do they have like permanent, like number, like two, like darkest?
Yes, so permanent color is going to follow all the rules of the color wheel, the level system, all of that. So yes, there's a blackest black of, permanent color, and there's a blondest blonde.
So let's say that they went from like a permanent like black and then they wanted to change their color back to blonde or something. We would have to.
You'd have to strip it out, and you're not going to get to a natural blonde.
Is it gonna like how we just did like if we're like this, will it lift to this or will it be like whatever their natural was?
So naturally, this is what hair does.
Uh-huh.
Once you put artificial pigment in it, so let's say along the way, okay, let's say their hair is as long as mine,
Right.
and they saw different hairdressers. They did a box in between. When you go to lift this, you're going to see the difference as you go. This one might be really red,
So
and this one, it would be similar to that, but it's going to be bands of whatever dyes were put in there. So sometimes you'll get that when you highlight the hair. Sometimes, so we did one of our associates here, and underneath she had put purple. And one of the girls went and put highlights, and underneath came out this wonky color. And she forgot, 6 months ago I was purple under there. You just don't think about those things. So those highlights were like not a pretty color. All the other highlights everywhere else are beautiful, but this underneath where she had a panel of purple was a weird color. So those things can visually start to come out. So doing a test strand is helpful, especially if you're doing a big job, doing a test strand just to see like, what am I gonna encounter when I start removing this color? Because you could find some things you can't do anything about. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So once you put permanent color on, they are stuck with some form of color until they grow it out, and then it is no longer permanent because it grew out and was cut off. But keeping in mind, people will say, I've never had color before, or it's been a long time since I colored. Well, if their hair is long, how long? 6 months? That's not long ago. That's like here.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So those are some things that you need. And they think, no, I haven't colored in a long time. They don't understand what you know about hair growth. So they're responding to you in truth, and if you take that for its face value without digging deeper in your consultation, you could run into some situations. So really kind of evaluating that is important. So we're not talking about consultation today because we're talking about how to get to the bowl, but that's a whole other process of your color service with your guest, is really diving into the things we talked about last week in consultation, but taking the understanding you have today and diving into those questions. Okay? So permanent color. I want you to think of this. First of all, we mix them together. So we mix it with developer, and we mix permanent color with 10 through 40 volume of developer, right? Why do we choose one over another with color? Remember, we're talking color. We're not to lightener yet. We're at color. The lift. So if I use 10 volume, how many levels of lift am I getting? Up to 1. 20?
There's
2.
3.
Now, I want to be very clear, it's up to.
Up to.
The reason I say that is, the coarser the hair, the harder it is for 10 volume to give you one full level of lift. So developer determines amount of lift with color. It is safe. There is a set time. You put it on the head, you time it, you rinse it out. The result should be, if you formulate it properly, the end result. There's no guessing. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a set it and forget it type mentality. Permanent color lifts and deposits all in one on natural hair. It doesn't have the capability of lifting permanent color. Yes? Okay. Okay. So we can get up to 4 levels of lift. When you squeeze a tube of permanent color, which would be alumina or KP, those are our 2 color lines. Everybody knows what KP looks like? What color is the box?
What? KP?
Uh-huh. Blue. Yes? You're with me now? Okay. So when you squeeze that tube, what color is it?
Blue? No, it's kind of green.
It's a cream color, right? For the most part, when you squeeze it out, it's a creamish, clear color. And then you add the developer and it sits out, and what happens? It starts to oxidize and turn the color. So through that process, I want you to, I don't know if you guys did this. I did this as a kid, so I feel like it's getting very good. Do you remember those little foam tablets that you stuck in the sink water and then it turned into an animal?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's how the dye molecule works. It starts this tiny little tablet. You add developer and it grows 200 times its size. So when you mix it, it starts off tiny so that it can get in there. And then it gets in there and it grows in size and it's stuck. So, if I mix my color and I leave it sitting out, and it's already brown in color, and I start painting the hair, this dye molecule is already swollen. Is it going to get its max lift, coverage, whatever you're trying to do, vibrancy, if it sits out in its bowl for too long?
No.
So you either have to be fast with your application or you have to remix halfway through. If your entire application took you 45 minutes, the last section you put it on, that bowl of color was sitting out for 45 minutes, it's done. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's why timing, that's why when we did the retouch applications last time, I talked so much about timing. It can't take you 45 minutes because you're gonna have vibrant and a little duller end result. Or it may be vibrant today, but it didn't go all the way in. So now you took a permanent color and turned it into a demi-permanent because it only got to sit out on the top because it was too big to get in. Does that make sense? So if your client is fading, maybe your application is too slow. Just some problems that you can come across, okay? So now once it's in there, the only way to get it out is to go in with bleach or a color remover and break that dye molecule up. When you do that, because you changed the natural hair, this is what's left. None of this is pleasing. Nobody ever wants this color. Do you know what I'm saying? So then that's what you're dealing with when you have to remove that.
We'll have a great time.
Yes? Okay. So we can go lighter on natural level, on natural hair, I mean. How many levels? 4? Up to 4.
Natural, meaning like the virgin.
Virgin hair. You're in this current world that we're living in, the color world, you're often formulating a route to match. I mean, everybody has, I mean, all of you, well, 3 of you out of 4 have color. So what percentage of people are coloring their hair more is much higher. It used to be, when I started in the industry, you only colored your hair for fun or for gray coverage. And if you were young, you didn't get yourself stuck into grow out situations. Now everybody has color. and I generalize, but you get what I'm saying. So more often than not, the color service you're going to be doing is formulating to match something. Yes? Okay.
Oh, it's real.
So that's your permanent color and how it works. What questions do you have about this? Go ahead. It's not stupid.
So it's only for virgin hair, like that. And well, like you can't put it on.
You can put it over colored hair, but you can only go darker with it.
It won't.
It's not going to go lighter.
It won't lift.
That's,
If it's not on virgin hair.
On previously colored hair, it will not lift.
Okay. So.
that's where the same comes, color does not lift color.
That is where the saying comes, color does not lift color. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. It's hair color doesn't lift previously hair color. Does that make sense? So a lot of times when people say that, they're like, well, I don't really get what that means, but okay. So that's where it comes from. So you can put it on previously colored hair, but only to go darker.
Yeah.
And I want you to think about this. If the hair is previously colored, and I'm going darker, the healthier option is color touch.
What about when they wet it and then let it sit on the pool?
Color touch. Oh,
We'll
okay.
emulsify it
Okay, so
with water.
Sometimes like it has to be like running all the
Yeah, all the way through.
okay, so let's talk about options and where we came from and where we are. So let's go back 20 years when demi-permanent, maybe even 25, when demi-permanent was like a new thing. The original way that we colored hair was we did the roots. We left our color bowl out and let it kind of dissipate. And then we added a little shampoo and we ran it through the ends to try and deepen down the ends. Okay, that was the 25 years ago technology.
So what did that do again? You said deepen.
Deepens the ends to match because these have faded and I'm putting fresh color. Does it work? Yes. Is it the healthiest option for the hair? No. Is it the longest option for, like, the most longevity for the hair? No. So now we've had to take clients from here where they paid for one bowl of color and we have to take them to another charge. And so they're like, whoa, I don't want another charge. However, we do roots, one color, demi-permanent, refresh gloss on the ends. The difference is the end results last longer, the hair is shinier, healthier. And I'm not putting any ammonia down here. Over here, we're trying to dilute the ammonia out. We're using color that sat out. We're getting inconsistent results because that's how we used to have to do it, but chemists came up with a better way. Use the better way. I still use this way on hair that's this long. Because why? Why? It's not that faded. It's not that grown out. You know what I mean? So to charge an additional charge and mix another bowl for hair that's I'm probably cutting off anyway doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But you two probably have never done that for me. Whole color through. It's a rare thing that I do. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's where demi-permanent came along and said, hey, look at me, I can make your hair combable and shiny and fresh. So that's where that difference is. So yes, people do this, but this is the world we live in today, and this is where we want to be, and that's where you want your clients to be. And when you suggest it even to a seasoned client who has been doing this, when you make the suggestion, their hair is different. There is a benefit to it. And they can decide at that point whether they want to keep doing that or go back. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But from your standpoint, that is the new technology. That is where we want to be. Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay. So when I'm doing a root, I'm generally doing a gloss of some sort, or if they have highlights, I'm probably not. Because if they have highlights in there, if I put the same formula down here that I have on the root, I'm covering those highlights up. So I might not be doing a gloss to deepen down at that point. But redheads, I'm doing an express gloss every time. And there's no ammonia in the demi-permanent color. What does ammonia do? In its like natural state, what does it do to hair? Do you know? It what?
Doesn't it make it like crunchy?
what it does scientifically is it swells the cuticle so that we can get in and change stuff. That's its purpose. And if ammonia is not some colors say ammonia free, but they still have something to replace that to swell the hair if it's permanent hair color. So it swells open the cuticle so we can get in and change it. So every time I open the cuticle and I close it back up, it's getting weaker and weaker and weaker. So I want to avoid putting ammonia on old hair. Does that make sense? Or previously colored hair for that reason. It's kind of like, how many hurricanes can your roof withstand? There's only so many before you got to replace the roof. It's the same idea because the cuticle scales are overlapped like shingles, just like that. And you're flipping them back, putting the color in, and then one of the things that I'm adamant about is using service after every color. Postcard,
Oh, the
this
condition.
right here. What is this and what does it do?
It brings that back down to pH.
So if the ammonia lifts the pH and swells it, this brings it back down, closes the hair, it prevents my fading, and it puts the hair back where it should be so that it's in the right state. So this is going to help with fading issues. The only thing you don't have to do this with, or put it away, is Shinefinity, because Shinefinity naturally does that. It's just totally different technology. But you need to use something after bleach, you need to use something after a toner, you need to use something after color, and this is it for Wella. It is not a conditioner. It has very little
So you
conditioning.
could put it like a little bit with that with the conditioner and just like work it through. or-
You can cocktail it. I generally use that and then put my conditioner after. And that particular one's supposed to be on for 5 minutes.
I see.
There is a faster one. It's the color motion. Can you see it?
Oh, yeah. Those ones?
Yes, I see it.
Yeah.
That one?
Yeah.
Do you guys, not that
Oh,
one.
not
All the
the-
way up with the pump.
No, yes, I see.
The post color.
Uh-huh.
That's the new version. It's 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
I don't love that one because it has zero conditioning in it. This one has more slip. You can run your fingers through
Yeah.
it. So you can actually doing the massage part with the post service and then put your conditioner on, and you're not like skipping a beat where it's like 5 minutes.
That's what I do.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that one is 30 seconds. You put it on, you rinse it out. But there's like, the hair still feels like after color, like rough.
This post service is meant to be put on all over the hair, right?
Correct.
Oh.
Yes. I mean, like, my regimen is like, if we're doing nothing else, I'm like, shampoo, service, condition. Like, these girls are
That's
like,
every day.
they're like,
Yeah.
okay, forget it. Don't
Yeah.
even say it.
So we already
But that's
know.
like, that is the regimen after every color because that's what Wella says sets that color in.
Doesn't it also help with the scalp and itching?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your pH of your scalp is raised with the color on it. So if they have itchy scalp,
They say
One-
that helps them a lot.
100%, because the pH went up to a level 10 and it lives at a 5, you gotta bring it back down.
Yeah.
So definitely, if they have itchy scalp, that's a big deal.
So I saw the other one. There's also like the one in the little one.
The tub is
That's
like a
mask.
mask.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with like during a color service, it's just a mask conditioner to
Okay. That one
moisturize it.
has like conditioning treatment.
That's a conditioning treatment, but it's not a post treatment in the sense of like pH and you still need
Do you
service.
like that?
The color motion?
Yeah. And you said you were starting to try it out.
I have been trying it because we have tons of it and I feel like there's a place for it. I'm trying to find the right place so that I can charge for it. Yes, I'm working on
You
it.
know, okay. I was wondering if you like it or not.
It's just newer technology that I need to.
I like the
Yeah.
oil reflections better. That one.
Yeah, I
Everyone
like that
loves oil
one.
reflections and that's like an easy. But we are having a hard time getting our fusion, our oil.
Yeah.
So we have that and I was trying to see where that fits. So anyway, that's my, okay. Any questions before we?
So for the, I remember in school learning that semi-permanent always goes in the root area, like it's meant to be used like for root retouches and permanent would be on the rest, or was it the opposite?
The opposite.
Oh, the opposite.
Permanence for the root,
Yeah.
demi-permanence for the glass.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And then we have this guy.
Yeah, the pastel.
What So this is a Wella thing, and it's kind of made so that you can take this color or KP and dilute the ammonia in it to use as a toner.
You can make a permanent color, use that,
What
make
it
it
says
a
on the box?
toner.
On this,
Mm-hmm.
it says 1 to 2 cream developer pastel. That's all it says.
Okay.
But you could mix this with this 1 to 2, and it dilutes it and uses as a toner, which is why I know you two, we use this a lot for that. Grabbed it as a demi-permanent. It is not. It just dilutes the ammonia in it
Okay.
to make it. It still has a permanent dye load. It just doesn't have the pH level. It lowers the pH level. It's a weird animal.
Yeah.
Most color lines don't have this. This is something unique to Wella.
You don't use that a lot. No. No.
Depends what I'm trying to do. Depends what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, sometimes she does.
Yeah.
I don't.
But so it depends what I'm trying to do. And I feel like you have to master like the basics before you start trying to dive into.
More like experimenting.
It's not experimental, it's like the creative side of it, but you've got to have the foundation then to like add another thing into it. So if your stylists use it, that's why they're using it, how they're using it. But I use this for toning when I'm toning with aluminum or KP. And it may just mean that I don't have the exact tone I need in CT or Shinefinity. But then I have to condition in a different way. Because CT and Shinefinity give me a conditioning that this is never going to give me. The softness, the combability, the pH level is lower. This is never going to give that to me. But the pigment's going to be stronger, so maybe that's what I need. Maybe I'm dealing with like pure brass, and I need to step to something different. So you do have 2 permanent color lines. So we'll talk about those. Your 2 permanent color lines are Illumina and KP. So how are they different? Why would you choose one over another? KP stands for what? Coleston.
Yeah, perfect.
Perfect. Perfect.
Is it KP and aluminum?
Illumina and KP. And when you're writing a formula, you do need to identify, is it KP or Illumina? And there are some identifiers, but I always write it in my formula because it's helpful for me to not think too much. Like I'm running behind now because Lord knows that's how my day goes. I'm always running behind for something because somebody asked for a little extra and I did it. That's just, oh yeah, sure, we can put your hair. You were in the book for it, but sure, we'll add that into the day. My formula, I just want to look at, if I've already done it and I'm doing the same thing and I'm not tweaking, I just want to look at it and it just, I don't have to, okay, that's what I'm doing. Also, if my associate's looking at it, it's clear. We're not grabbing the wrong tube because Lord knows I had that happen. So I always indicate Illumina or KP. Or I should say, I indicate when I'm using Illumina because I use KP more often than anything. So what's the difference? They're both permanent. They both can cover gray. They both can go lighter. They both can go darker on natural hair. I can low light with these. They both can be mixed with pastel to dilute. They can be mixed with 10 to 40 volume. So what's the big difference? The end result look is the big difference. KP is solid, opaque coverage. And when I say opaque, that doesn't mean dull. It's very shiny, but it's solid. And Illumina's coverage is dimensional. What does dimensional mean to you? When I say the word dimensional, what does that mean to you?
I did like layers.
Layers,
Tones.
different
Different tones.
different tones. So those are both accurate. The way that I describe it, I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to envision a young girl with long hair flowing in the wind. Is it all one color?
No.
There's lights and darks, right? It's
Yeah.
pretty close. It's not like highlighted here unless they've been in the sun. Okay, so that is dimensional. It's not one color solid coverage. And so dimensional, if I'm covering gray, is going to make the white hairs look a little lighter than the darker pepper hairs. Some guests will see that as gray. It is going to be colored, but they'll see that it's lighter and they don't want to see any gray, and they'll say, I can still see my gray. No, you can't, that's colored, but it's that dimension, and they don't want to see that. So if it's someone who wants a softer grow out, they don't want that harsh line, then this may be a better way to go. But once they're 100% gray or above 75% gray, it's a grow out. No matter how you slice or dice it, there's a line. But just for reference. Otherwise, they both have the same capabilities. Something to note, we talked about color usage last time, like how much to put in your bowl, making sure that you're not throwing away a ton of color. I'm sure as associates you've seen color go down the drain, right? And so what part can you be of that? Just something to be mindful of. This one is your average color. This is the one that kind of the meat of your color. And this one, these are specialty colors. Use them wisely. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Also, something to be aware of, and you know, guests have no idea of this, but our tubes of color are, I think if you walk in the store now, Celeston is $13 and Illumina was $14 the last time I looked for 2 ounces of color. The average color tube all throughout the store is $5 to $8. So, while it is the #1 color in the country, I think it's in the world now actually. I would have to Google that to be sure, but I'm almost certain that's an accurate statement. And that's why they charge what they charge. We are high end, that's why we charge what we charge. But something for you to just be mindful of, because sometimes people say things and I just, for a reference.
How would you determine in order not to waste, would that just come with time? Just like
in order not to waste color, I would say that if you stick it a retouch with 1.5 ounces of color and then figure out when you need 2. It's rare that you would need 1 ounce of color. It would mean they have no hair.
Oh, no hair.
Like 1 ounce of color
Oh,
for a retouch.
yeah.
That would mean they have no. I have a few clients that are just slowly thinning, and sometimes I mix my 1.5. I'm like, oh my god, how do I have so much color left over? It's just because they're losing their hair. And it's like I mix them based off of my average, but usually I'll make a note, less color next time. Even though my formula is there, I need to adjust and just lower how much I'm using. It's really something to be mindful of because it's just, I don't know, anybody who knows me, I'm like, I write my notes, that's important to me because it's just money down the drain. So, and also if it's sitting out here and you're taking too long, go mix more. Do you know what I mean? Instead of having too much, if you don't have enough, go mix more. And anyone walking by, at least in our location, I know anyone walking by will mix you a bowl of color. You can ask anyone and they'll be like, sure. You know, so I mean, stylists mix for other stylists too. So it's like having that ability is better. But it's finding out oh my God, this person has a lot of hair. The other big one that I see thrown out is bleach. And it's like, you're doing 5 foils as a spotlight. Why are you mixing a whole scoop? So measure it on the scale and say, okay, this time I'm going to use a 1/2 ounce of bleach. And see how far that takes you, and really making it part of your journey as a hairstylist is knowing the right amount of color to use. Because it is a big loss. Whether it's for the company or if you're out on your own, forget it. It's like you will use all of your bleach in 2 clients because you threw it down the drain. You know what I mean? It also helps because You just threw out 2 things of bleach, and now the tub of bleach is empty, and I have a highlight blocking it. Like, thanks for throwing that down the drain. Do you know what I'm saying? So, those kind of things help. Okay, so the last thing that we're going to talk about before we talk about the steps of formulation, the last 2 steps of formulation is lightener. We have different lightener options, but tell me what lightener does. Lifts. Hmm?
Takes away the pigment.
Removes pigment both naturally and artificially. So it basically is like a destroyer. It goes in and destroys everything in its path.
It's damaging.
It is damaging. You cannot put bleach on hair, then darken hair, then put bleach on hair, then darken hair, and have hair. You cannot do that. So people are watching celebrities do it, and they're probably getting fake hair put in.
Oh yeah.
Maybe it's a wig. Like, that's not real that they're having these types of services and these shifts. You can't be blonde in the summer and brunette in the winter and just keep doing that and have long hair. That's not realistic. So it's just something that you have to, and I think you have to melt hair once to really figure out where you push the, I mean, I'll never forget, like, the worst time ever was, the hair was, first of all, the hair was really fragile and it shouldn't have been lightened. It was lightened. I was teaching school at the time. And I walked over and I didn't tell the student, you do know that wet hair is more fragile than dry hair?
Yes.
Okay. So the hair was like at its breaking point, and I'm like, oh, we really gotta put some protein in that. And she went over and took the round brush and stretched it right off on the round brush.
Oh, when it was wet.
It was wet, and she was like, okay.
It's
I was
really
like,
gummy, right?
yes, and I was
No.
like, okay, you need to dry that. I didn't say dry it gently. I didn't say any of the things that you're supposed to say. And I walk over and she's looking at the brush, and the lady's hair is just sticking out like this. And
No.
I was like, okay. Like, what do you do? So, and that girl, it was in the beginning of her schooling.
Oh,
I'm thankful she didn't
no.
quit. And every time she'd be like, are you sure? Come look at it. I think it needs to come off. She would be in panic mode the whole time that we were bleaching anything.
Yeah.
So being mindful. So lightener in its strength. So it depends who you work with, but some people go full force and put 40 volume in their bowl. Developer is what makes lightener move faster. So I don't care if you mix this or this. The capability of the powder will get there. Now, some stylists will tell you that's not true. That is absolute fact. The fact of the matter is that this might take an hour and this takes 20 minutes. Well, let me just say that you are not foiling in 20 minutes. You can't possibly, you haven't been doing hair long enough to foil in 20 minutes. Does that make sense?
Right.
So you shouldn't be touching this or this until you know exactly how fast you put foils in. You know how long it's going to take you to get from here to here. I mean, you're doing a partial. How long does that take you to put in? Does it take you 2 hours? You can absolutely mix lightener with 1.9. You can mix it with this. It will lighten. As long as the hair is moist and in a foil and you've used enough lightener, it will lighten. It's just literally the difference between, I mean, it would be like, okay guys, we're taking a trip to Massachusetts. You have to walk there. You get a bike. You get a scooter. You get, the fastest car you can think of, and then I get a plane. We're all gonna get to Massachusetts. He's gonna be a while. We're gonna be partying, waiting for him to show up. But does that make sense? Like, we all will get to the destination. It's just gonna take a lot longer. Well, here's what you don't wanna do. You don't wanna get to your destination, but you can't rinse the hair. Because the lightener that met that destination, right? You're gonna wipe it out. Because that's probably what you do in school, right? When you get there, it's like, oh, let's wipe this out with a towel.
You spray it
Yeah.
and then you pull.
Okay, let's talk about what the hair is doing while you're spraying and pulling. The hair's cuticle is wide open. It's destroying everything inside right now. It's like, get out of my way, all the dye molecules, all the protein and moisture in the hair, the lightener is just destroying. And the cuticle shingles are like this. And then you take a terry cloth towel and you go like this.
Well, Jen, I go softer. I do pull this, I pull down. I pull down, I don't do this.
They have like those gloves now too that you can put on your,
Yeah.
it's like a cloth.
Jen, I do it nicer.
But you get what I'm
Yeah.
saying, yes? So why would you not learn your timing so that foil 1 and foil 101 are done at the same time? So you bump your developer and you work panel by panel, bottom to top, so that if you did have to rinse out early, you can rinse out your bottom foils and your tops are sitting on top. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So that's why you should work bottom to top as a newer stylist. So that when those bottom ones are done, they don't just keep,
Cookie.
yeah, and they don't also just, you don't have to wipe them out. And yes, I know it. It was purposeful that I did that. So you would all cringe and go, I'm never gonna do that. I don't wanna wipe my foils out.
Yeah, no.
So starting lower, and then there is a heat source you can add with Wella. It is only the Climazone. Wella's manufacturer's instructions say that the Climazone creates the right climate for the service that you're providing. So if they're sitting under an air vent, that's not helping your foils process. Also with a Climazone, I don't know if you know this, but you can turn on the heat sources that you want to create the climate. So if you've already completed under here, and those are the first ones, you don't want to enhance these, you just want to turn on the top if the top's where you finish. So you can shut the ones off that you want to. Do you guys know how to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I actually didn't know that. I had an associate teach me that. I was like, shut up! All this time I've just been turning it on. So anyway, so that, and then like standard highlights, if you choose highlights, goes to 20 minutes, but you want to check them every 5 if you're unsure of what's going on. And then eventually you'll get to a place where you know, I could set these safely for 20 and it's fine. But you should be looking back at that first section you did and timing it. Is that, ooh, nope, we're getting kind of straw-like, let's get those out of there. Does that make sense? And you don't want the underneath to be pale and the top to be orange. So if you vary your developers, if your speed's not there, they will match. Yes?
So you're using different developers on each, that's what you're saying, okay.
So you could start with 1.9, then you could bump it to 10. You're going 6 volume to 10 volume, then 10 to 20. I would say at no point should you be at 30 right now until you really understand how fast you foil and how fast the hair lifts and really understanding what the developers do. Otherwise you get somewhere too fast and then you're in trouble. If you're not there fast enough, add heat. Be patient, right? All you have to do is be patient. If you get there too fast, you're in trouble because now you have a panel that you haven't even put foils in, but these are already at your destination. Then now you're going to the bowl, you're rinsing them out, toweling them, now you're coming back hoping you didn't hit anything else, or you're wiping them out and causing damage. Like the challenges that come with that are not as welcoming as, let's just be patient. I just have to wait a little longer. And I know in like salon reality, if you've ever been with someone who their highlights aren't lifting fast enough and you're on this schedule, it does create a different challenge in itself. But that's better with integrity of hair than the other situation. And they're leaving with no hair. Or broken hair or dried hair or whatever. So you have cream lightener and powder lightener. Yes? What are you guys using for your powder? What is it?
It's like a blue.
Are you using the Blonde or Plex or just the Blonde?
Yeah, it's
Blonde or Plex.
it's like the blue.
Yeah, it's like a.
Yep. Okay, so you have Blonde or Plex and then you have Blonde or Cream.
Plex is the powder one, right? Yeah.
The cream is in a tube.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah, but we don't have it.
You have it.
Well, we
I
can.
promise you have it, but
We
whether
have it,
people
but-
use it or not is a
Probably.
Yeah.
So, when you're talking in the world of lightener, this is much slower than this. This is safer for the scalp than this. If you're doing like a bleach and tone, which we don't do a ton of those, but when you do a bleach and tone on the scalp,
What's a bleaching tone?
when you're like doing a retouch of bleach,
Oh, okay.
that is a whole other class in itself because there's so many particulars about that so that you get a good end result without banding and damage. So, but that is what a bleach and tone is. You're basically doing a retouch of bleach and then you tone it.
So the cream, like, that wouldn't like burn the scalp, like how?
It can, but it's safe for the scalp. It's safer for the scalp, but it also can be used in a foil. So if I have a client who experiences breakage, especially around here or in their crown, I'll use the cream in those areas. Think about like these baby hairs around here, how fragile they are.
Right.
So I'll use the cream just there, and then I'll put the powder everywhere else. So just customizing it to the client so I don't keep getting breakage. But this one, there's these lightener chemicals in it called persulfates. This one has 2, this one has 7, just in comparison of strength. So lightening capabilities, this one only has 2, that one has 7. So it's not gonna get you as light or as bright or as strong. Does that make sense? So they both mix with 10 through 40 volume. If you are putting this on the scalp, you cannot put on the scalp more than 20 volume. 30, 40, you can burn them. If it is on the scalp, you cannot put it under heat. Any heat source, you can burn them. Those are manufacturer's instructions. You will see lots of things. I'm just telling you manufacturer's instructions.
Wait, you said if on the scalp you cannot.
More than
No
20
heat
volume.
and no more than 20 volumes. What about plastic then? So you can put it in a shower cap. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, like.
You can put it in a shower cap. That's just trying to contain the heat of the person's body.
Yeah.
And, it's a powder. Even the cream is like really thick, so it dries out. So if you're trying to keep it moist, putting a cap on it would allow that moisture to stay and not dry out. Because once bleach dries, it dies. So it's no longer doing anything if it dries out. So you just have to be checking, with a bleach client like that, you have to be checking that they're not getting any irritation. But yes, you can do that. And you can even put the cap and then take a towel.
Yeah.
And I would not take a hot towel with a bleach cap, but you could take a towel to keep their own body heat in. But I wouldn't add a heat source of any type. And then with that, I would also make sure that where they're sitting is not under an air vent that's like blowing on a bleach retouch. Or foils that aren't moving. But foils that aren't moving, I'm gonna stick them under climbing on. Yeah? Okay, where are you at? We've covered everything but the last 2 steps of formulation. What questions do you have about everything we've covered so far? Is your brain swelling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Can't
so
do
let's,
questions.
huh?
Because I can't do formal questions.
So here's what I want you to do. We're gonna take a 5-minute break here for you to practice. If you don't practice the 4 steps of formulation, then you're just guessing. Does that make sense? So what did we already say step 1 was?
Identifying the natural
Identifying the natural level and the
percentage of gray.
percentage of gray, and what about this part? What do I call this? Canvas level. And it can be called other things. But so first we're identifying step 1 and step 2 we find from the guest. Step 3 and step 4 we figure out on our own. Okay? So step 1 is natural level and percentage of gray. And canvas level, we'll put canvas level over here. Step 2 is called many things, but we're going to call it target level. Some people would call it desired level, but it's where we're going. So step 1 is where we're starting. Step 2 is where we're going, and we have to figure that out from the guest. We do not want to assume that they want what they had last time. So we have the canvas level because we've checked it, but we want to confirm with them what color we're going through pictures, either of other people or of themselves. The best photos for me are selfies because it really helps me see how they're living every day and determining, you know, where some people will show me pictures from 10 years ago and that's what they want their hair to look like, but they can't get back to that. So it's really realistic to see pictures of that. So step 2 is target level. And target color. Meaning we're going to name it. Are they going red? Are they going red-brown? Are they going gold? So that's what target color is. Target level is how light or how dark. And in this scenario, for all the formulas we do today, we're matching their canvas level. They have previously colored hair. We're doing their root today, and we're matching what they had previously. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So step 1 and 2 we get from the client. Step 3 is undertone or contributing pigment. They both mean the same thing. What does that mean when I say that? Undertone or contributing pigment.
It's like what the color is the thing to, or like, right?
Yeah, it's what's living in the hair at the level we're going to. So that's part of our formula. That's part of our thought process. So think of it like this way. When you enter a destination in your GPS in your car or your phone, it says, I'm starting here and I'm going here. That's 1 and 2 for formulation. Step 3 is, oh, there's a detour along the way. We should go like this to get there. Or accident, look out, right? So that is what step 3 is what you're going to encounter in the hair on the way. And step 4 is deciding what you want to do with it. So do you want to neutralize the undertone? Do you want to enhance the undertone? Do you want to intensify it? So let's just stick with neutralize or enhance. And the last thing is like, what am I putting in this bowl based on steps 1, 2, 3, and 4? So in these scenarios, I'm going to give you step 1 and 2 because we don't have a guest. We're just creating a guest, right? And you're going to come up with 3 and 4 on your own. We're going to do 1 together, and then we're just going to do formula after formula after formula until your brain's done or time runs out, whichever comes first. Okay? So in this first scenario, my guess is going to be a natural level 5 with 50% gray. So I wrote it over here so that when we reference these formulas, you'll have something to go back on, hopefully. And her canvas level is a 7. Yes, please.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, there's extra under there. There you go. So that's step 1, done. I took out my level finder, I determined what her roots are and her canvas level. And through my consultation, she said she likes her level 7. So my target level is a 7. And she feels like her color always goes brassy. She doesn't want to be brassy. You with me? So what, if she doesn't want to be brassy, what does she want to be?
Cooler.
Cool. She wants a cool level 7 brown. So her target color is a cool brown. So the next step is, what is my undertone or contributing pigment? Where can I find this information? Where can I find contribute? Because we've walked away from the guess. She's given us everything we can get from her. Where we're starting, where we're going. Now it's our job to formulate. So the first thing we need to know is, what are we going to get? Yes, okay, so flip it over and look at a level 7 and tell me what, when we get to a 7, what's the undertone gonna be?
Dark, like a 6, like a dark.
What is that actually?
Medium blonde.
Oh,
Medium
wait.
blonde.
I'm looking at 6, no, not medium blonde.
Okay, but this has a name, and I know there's a chart for it. Let me just find it so that you're able to find it yourselves. I thought it actually said on there what it called it. The color wheel tells you, but this also tells you right here. Okay, so I did pull this out of the book. This is in the back of the book. Everything we talked about today is in this. And I mean more than we talked about, because we couldn't touch on it all. But consultation tips, how to formulate, how to do an allergy test, which we didn't even have time to touch on. Every color line that's offered and how to use it.
Take a picture.
These should be also in your book, but yes, please. And this goes like this. It opens up like this because all the things that are available. Like we couldn't even go over this. Your brains would be melting. And then the lighteners in comparison from the lighteners, which we didn't even talk about, magma. Do you know what I mean? Like we didn't even. And then lastly, under color correction, this is where the chart that you're looking for. And I'll leave these out so you can take pictures. But right here, this chart right here, it calls it exposed contributing pigment. So at a level 7, our exposed pigment is going to be, you see how it names it? Orange gold.
Or,
You see, we're like, that's the level we're going to. That's the pigment we're going to come across. It also goes as far to tell you, if you don't want it, what to put in your bowl.
To combat it.
Mm-hmm. You see that?
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
So this chart is your friend. Okay? So our undertone is orange gold, yes? I also want to show you something. If you come right here to a level 7, it will give you a good idea, if you can't find that chart, what you're dealing with.
Orange.
Oh, you're going to be dealing with brass. So our undertone is orange gold. So our last step is, are we neutralizing or enhancing? She said she wants a cool brown. So are we keeping this or getting rid of it? Getting rid of it. So what are we going to put in the bowl? We're neutralizing it out. So what color from the color wheel? Don't go to the tubes of color yet, just the color wheel. We're putting blue and violet. So we need blue and we need violet in our bowl today. What else do we need in our bowl today since she is 50% dry? Neutral. So we need some stroke 0 in there. And I want to get away from using these letters. So this would be stroke 8. And this would be stroke 6. Do you get me? Do you see what I did there?
Okay. Yes.
Yes or no?
Can you repeat that?
So we needed blue, which is stroke 8. We need violet, which is stroke 6.
Oh, okay.
So I
Blue.
turned our color wheel into a tube of color, is what I did.
Oh, okay. Yeah, to cancel out the orange gold.
Yeah, this is going to cancel out the orange, this is going to cancel out the yellow, and this
then
is going to cover
green.
my gray.
Okay.
Boom, done. Now it's just literally finding the right tube that fits these needs. So what level am I looking at when I'm looking at tubes of color?
7.
7. Okay, so I know I need 7 stroke 0. I know that because there's gray.
So it would be like 7 in front of like all.
Everything.
Yeah. So. That
Because that's our target level,
So we would need like 3 tubes of color.
potentially.
Right. Okay. So 1 for like.
We
7.
may be able to find a blue violet.
Mm.
We may be able to use an ash, which is blue violet based,
I see
right?
what you mean.
So there are options, but we know we need blue violet. One of the places you can go to kind of determine what kind of blue violet or where to even begin is right here. These are blue violet colors.
Mm-hmm.
There's an 8-9. There's a 8-1. There's a stroke 1, which is ash. There's a 1-6. So anything that's living right here, 6-1, 8-9, stroke 8-8, anything that's living right here are gonna be the tones that you need. It's whether it has a level 7 in those tones. And if you put something in this area at a level 7 in your bowl, you're gonna be really close to where you want to be. Now, when you're done with it, you can go, oh, I want to go less cool next time. I want to add more cool next time. When you start to become creative in the sense of you understand what's happening. But in this primary world, like this new beginning, as you tiptoe, if you grab something in this world, you'll be okay.
Okay.
It's not good. It's like doing a blunt cut and you take a little less. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, it's straight. She wanted it an inch shorter, but it's straight across. Kind of that, like you're just dipping your toe into getting the right thing. So what you have to do is then figure out what is a level 7 in those formulas. So we know there's every neutral. So 7 stroke 0 was safe. Then you have to start looking through and finding, this is ash. So there's a 7 stroke 1. So that's an option. This is gold, so we don't want gold. Still living in the gold world. Okay, so here's blues. Here, okay. So when you look at this, look at the bottom here. This says Coleston Perfect. When I flip it over, do you see how there's swatches on the other side? Those are the mirroring tones in color touch.
Oh, so
these ones don't exist in KP. They exist. Do you see what I'm saying? So knowing that. Here's a 896. That's the wrong level. 697. Those are not in the right tone. So we may have to live with the stroke 1 because I don't have another option at that level. Does that make sense? So our best option, based on what we know, is a 7 stroke 1. So that's what we're going to put in the bowl. Now you have to tell me how much of my formula is going to be 7 stroke 1 and how much of my formula is going to be 7 stroke 0.
Natural is gonna be 50%.
It's going to be half of the,
Yeah.
okay. So when we were doing a retouch, what did I tell you was a standard retouch? How much color in the bowl?
It depends on the gray.
But depends on what?
On the gray?
No. How
One
much
and a half.
total color
Oh,
in the bowl?
1.5.
1.5 ounces. So how much is half? Keep going. 75.
Oh.
So you're gonna do 0.75 of this and 0.75 of that. Now let me just say, if you do it in grams, it is so much easier to adjust the amount of color you use because grams is a whole number and you're not thinking in fractions.
Where did you get that 7 stroke one again?
Because it's gray ash.
Oh.
And ash has blue
I see,
and
okay,
violet
okay,
in
okay,
it. Yes, I get you. You were like, but it's in the color wheel, you'll see
Right.
stroke one.
okay.
So how much, what developer am I gonna use? I have 10, 20, 30, and 40. What determines, with my color, what developer is going in the bowl? What lift you want, and also, so yes, 20 is the answer, for 2 reasons. How many levels of lift am I building? 2. What else am I dealing with?
The gray.
Gray. If I have 50% gray and it was only going 1 level, I still need 20 volume. 20 volume is the standard gray coverage when you're mixing it with permanent color. If this was a level 8, I would move to 30.
What if the grade is 75?
I,
That's the same.
that's the same, I still use 20.
So like 10% it wouldn't process like at all. Like
10 volume will blend the gray, you're not gonna get
Oh,
the coverage
we're
that you
talking
need.
about, yeah, right.
So it's not gonna help fill in the
Mm.
pigment. And if you use 20 and you don't get the coverage you need, that's when you would change this to 7.7 stroke 0.
Oh, like more intense.
Yeah, exactly. So then we're gonna use 1.5 ounces of 20. Now, I'm really working on moving everyone to grams. It's like a goal of mine because in the world of hairdressing today, everyone is moving to grams. However, we're a company that is 40 years old. And we have a lot of hairstylists that people don't like change. I'm just telling you that if you can measure in grams, it's a whole number. It's easier to
They do
make
it
less
for
color. It's just the way that we're moving.
So
Okay.
can you give us an example? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So if you're doing an equivalent, 30 grams is roughly 1 ounce. So if you're doing a standard formula, you're going to do 45 grams. That's 1.5 ounces of color. Does that make sense?
So instead of 1.5 ounces, you put
45 grams. So you do 22. And honestly, I do it on the whole number. So if I need equal parts of 7 stroke 0 and 7 stroke 1, I can mix 44 grams, 22, 22, and 44. Then I'm not in my head going, what are the fractions?
Yeah, right.
What is, and then if you had to break this down to half of 3/4 of an ounce, what is half of that? Do you know what I'm saying? You're like, it's not as easy. But if I have 22 grams and I need half of that, 11. Do you get what I'm saying? So when you're working in grams, it's just so much easier. So if I were doing this in grams, I would do 22 grams, 7 stroke 0, 22 grams, 7 stroke 1, with 44 grams of 20 volume. And then it's easier to add more, because if I need more, I could just add 6 more grams, 3 and 3, and see if that's enough. Instead of like, you're moving on 1/4 of an ounce with ounces. So that's, I think, part of why we have waste 1, and it's just much harder. And if you're like me, I use multiple colors, especially on my reds. I have like 5 grams of this, 2 grams of that, and to make the red that I want. So it's easier to be in whole numbers. But you're going to be reading them in ounces. Any formula that your stylists have are in ounces. But in the way of the hairdressing world, and any advanced coloring that you're going to do, they're going to be moving to grams. Now, I just had a conversation with somebody, and she was talking about how you don't even use a scale. And I was like, whoa, they're like really behind us. But we are behind in that
like
way.
They
They don't use a scale. They use the side of the tube, and they measure it with. This is how we did it before scales. It's called a tube key, and you slide it on,
yeah.
and you roll it down, and on the side of the tube is ounces. and it's not
I noticed
accurate.
that.
It is not accurate. The scale is so much more accurate. But anyway, so you roll that down, and then you have a measuring cup, and you pour your developer in that, and then you mix them together.
It's too much work.
It's, but we were talking, and the salon that she was talking about still does it that way, and I was like, oh my god, that's really behind. But we are behind in the sense like of that. That's probably one of the things that we're like a little stuck.
I'll bring my own scale.
Hmm.
I said I would bring my own scale to work. Bring my own scale to work.
Yeah.
If I worked with it.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. And on the Wella scales, there's a bottom. There's a. Let me just grab it so I can show you how to switch it. I make everybody mad here what I do. This is the scale that you're using at Bayfront, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. So underneath, there's a little button, and it switches it to grams.
Oh.
And so when you turn it on, it reads like this. Instead of ounces, it's just, and I just go on the whole number. And it's only like a half a gram, so it goes 0.5 and then up. But you can see on the bottom corner. But, God, this lady is blowing. Sorry. I'm distracted by, I guess she really wants to fix my bathroom. So anyway, that's that. If it ever is put in grams and you don't want it, but that's how you do it. All right, so let's do some blondes because a lot of our clients are lighter, right? Our retouches are cover and gray and they're blonde. So let's do a natural level 7 with 25% gray. And she's a canvas level of a 9 and she just wants to match that.
10% green?
25%.
Oh, 25.
Her target level is a 9 because she's matching that. And her target color is neutral.
And canvas is what? 9?
9. She doesn't really need to be golden. She doesn't need to be cool. She just wants some blonde gray coverage. Okay, so step 3 is what? 1 and 2 I get from my guest. Where do I find 3?
From the book.
From the book.
Natural level is a 7.
So tell me what step 3 is. You guys can hang on to this page because you're going to need it for all of formulating. And just pass it around.
Be the same.
Orange color. And she wants to neutralize it. So blue violet.
Okay, so I'm going to say this and see if you can find what you're missing. Because you all did it and it's common. That's why I didn't help you.
Oh.
The undertone or contributing pigment is found at the target level, where you're going, not where you started.
Or her target level is 9.
So what is your undertone?
So it would be yellow.
Okay, so
It would be,
very light blonde, which is
Yellow.
can you show them, yep, can you hand that to them so they can see that?
yellow. Thank you.
So our undertone is yellow. So you may need to add a note on your step 3 that your undertone or contributing pigment is at the target level.
So we would need violet, right? Too.
To counteract the yellow. Violet or ash, both will work.
Or ash.
Ash is blue violet based, and it's controlled by the level.
Mm.
That stroke 1 is like a it's like a benefit to using whenever you have warmth, you can use ash, whether it's, because it's based on its level.
Mhm.
At a 9, you're gonna have more violet. At a 7, you're gonna have more blue. So what you're going to do is decide what's going in your bowl. To the best of your ability, decide what's going in your bowl. And you can use the book and look at the book. You can we had 2. I don't know. I'm gonna go with the best one, but that way you guys can share this with Taylor.
So yeah, but now we have to find the formula.
So,
Yeah, and the numbers. Yeah. We're working on.
You two can share this one. It's not as, like the hair's not as good a visual, but you have all the things available to you. There you go.
That's 9.
It's kind of like 20.
It's too much, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you look at the book, that's why if you know,
I don't know.
what
That's
color are you
ash.
trying to put in your bowl? What did you decide?
Yeah.
We're trying to put
is that if you
violet.
had like?
Yes?
So we're trying to see what numbers, you know.
Okay, so what is violet on your stroke system?
What are you thinking?
Stroke system is
I'm thinking, yeah. we cancel out.
6.
So,
Stroke 6,
I
stroke
don't
9,
see violet.
stroke 1.
Yeah, 'cause I think everything is.
This is
Stroke
one.
6.
Stroke 6, stroke 9, or stroke 1 are all violet.
This is That's cool.
And then you have gray, so what do you need for the gray?
These are
Neutral.
Yep.
ash. They're not looking.
So now you need to look for these types of colors
So,
at the level that you're trying to achieve.
Wait, so.
there's very little blonde pearl. There's pearl.
9, yep,
wait, so
9
this one
something.
is like-
That's pearl ash.
And then you're gonna decide how much of what to put in the bowl.
like one.
You could do this. This one's actually pretty.
Okay. So
But that's not violet though. That's
we're 9. 9.
no pearl violet. But that's not.
So for sure 9 stroke 0, right? Natural. Well, maybe not 9.
Man, it's so Valentine's-y around here.
So.
Are the other songs Valentine's? I was just like, it had to happen this weekend. So the bathroom behind the door is like that.
So this one's.
It's like,
violet.
it's
That's the same.
everywhere I go.
This has to be.
It's like, I'm being loved
You know what I
by.
mean?
I don't understand.
So that's why I'm thinking.
I hope you're not unhappy about that.
happy. It's-
But then
No,
she
not
said
you, I'm
it's
just
blue
saying,
violet,
like, I hope you're not
so
unhappy
then
about
you
that
can
when
do-
you come in here,
Oh,
because you're
yeah.
gonna be, like, hardened to death.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, when you walk in the door, I mean, that's all.
pearl
Right?
ash.
Yeah, she's
But that's
really
pretty.
good at her windows,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Is
it'll
there-
cancel out.
Would this be better? Yeah.
That's all.
So, yeah.
And a deep brown.
This one is
Yeah, Jen. I wonder.
I think like the one you said, like first is.
These two.
In this book, where is
I
violet?
don't see violet.
Like, where is the section of violet?
There's not a section. You have to find the stroke that you're looking for. So first of all, this is your Celeston for colors, right here and right here.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so these are,
And a red and violet. So you can.
these are stroke 0, stroke 0, 3. What is 3?
gold.
Gold. So these are your naturals with an additive. So these, you need more than this, right? These are your naturals. So that's ash, stroke 1. Stroke 1, 6. What's 1, 6?
Might be
Ash,
And,
violet. But that's a level 10, so you need to move down to your level 9s. You have this, you have this,
Yes.
you have this. These are your 9 options, you see? And it stops right here. So what are you going to choose that's going to be the right additive to your 9-0.
Yeah.
Yes.
So for this one, I don't think those are the same. So I
They're,
was
they're
thinking
similar. I mean, they're the same
she's
color.
not
Either these
from
two would be
nine. For sure.
but if you wanted to do
And
do blue,
orange. So these measurements do very well.
So,
if she's yellow.
No.
If she,
More
right,
neutral.
so if you
That's
put
like
blue,
neutral.
yep,
Yeah.
so no.
you don't want blue necessarily.
So
Not
this
for
is-
neutral. This would go past neutral and make it more of an ash tone. Because,
So then you add that.
Then
no, I wouldn't even do that. I would find
Then
something
dash.
that's a little bit less intense. So you could
mix this
this
and
would
make
be
it more neutral.
9-7 would be the
Yeah.
center, which is
So we
what
have to
violet,
use
brown,
9,
which is
like 9 and then something.
Yeah.
Supposed to minus 1, 6, 9.
And then we'll keep, this will cancel out the
Nine,
yellow
nine,
and
one.
make her
neutral.
neutral.
We're not
That's
trying to
like
make her
one
cool,
is
remember?
So what's the 9 in here?
This is
It's,
great.
The first, this one is the
yeah.
level,
right.
that is violet.
Violet.
It says.
Oh, but
I mean,
yes,
9
yes,
is,
yes, yes,
you know,
Yes,
mine.
yes, that's where, if you really want, the best thing you can do is learn that number system.
So there's
Because
like no
we are
sense in
trying to
always
find
using
the undertone.
You can also use
Violet needs to be,
your 9-1.
So I
There's
would use this
9-6. There's gonna have some violet, these ash. This is probably
You know, cancel.
21. I think, well, it's 25%.
and we're going from a 7 to a 9. And you already have this up there. You have that too. It's like, it's a process.
Definitely, if like,
You gotta do more, and you gotta see why are we choosing what we're choosing. I will tell you that some stylists live in a world of safe when they use neutral, but they're not getting the results. If all your formulas are straight neutral, you're not getting the results. So you gotta be adding to your formulas. This part. Yeah, but think of what, all the information that you got
because even
today.
I was in middle school.
You have to add everything.
Yeah. So like even when I didn't learn much there.
Yeah, but they don't want to teach you. I don't feel like you can. Like you can't consume it all in this class. So now the key is that you take the information you learned today and you practice it on every guest until it makes sense. But if you get step 1 and step 2, right, from the guest, and you walk away from the guest and you take it to a senior stylist and say, here's where I'm starting, here's where I'm going, here's what I'm thinking, that's a practice formula every single time. And with color retouches, you can steal somebody and say, help me figure out what's going in this bowl. And then go back and apply it. With a haircut, you can't really do that, right? But with a color, they can walk you through what you're going to put in the bowl for the end result you want. And then it's just a practiced thing every time. But if you understand steps 1, 2, 3, and 4, then you just have to follow them. And then check it. Does that make sense? Okay, so what do we got? Do we have some, you don't have to have measurements, but you gotta have some colors. Do you have some colors to go in your bowl?
Yes.
Okay, what's going in your bowl?
916.
916, and what else?
And 90.
Okay, what's going in your bowl? What'd you guys decide?
9 stroke O and 10 stroke 16.
Okay, so if we put 10, is that our target level?
No. Must be less, probably, than.
I was thinking like
So what number does it have to be in front?
9.
It has to be 9. So the 16 is fine. but it has to be 9. Now let's say we didn't have a level 9. What if we went in the back room, we didn't have a level 9? You can make it by mixing a 10 and an 8. Does that make sense? You'd have to mix equal parts. But if you put the 10 and the 9, your end result is going to be not a level 9.
10 and a half, no.
It'd probably be like a 9.
Okay.
So what percentage of our formula, where are we here, has to be 9-0? We have 25% gray, so how much are you putting of the 9-0 and how much are you putting of the 916?
What was it, like,
Half and half.
No.
No, 0.75.
You want to do half and half? That's what you're telling me? That would be fine. It would not be based on the gray. If you felt like the 1/6 was going to be too much ash to counteract the yellow and you wanted to do equal parts of 9-0 and 9-1-6, that would be fine. But if you're formulating specifically for the gray, you'd be doing more of like a less neutral, more ash.
less neutral?
Yes, because you only need a quarter of your formula
Right.
to be.
So would you do like,
So what you could do if you're basing it on the gray would be 10 grams of 9-0 and 30 grams of 916.
that's what, like, so for ounces
You would do
Like-
like a quarter to 3/4. 0.25 to 3/4. If you were concerned that it was going to be too ash, you could do the equal parts. You just knowing why you're choosing it and how much you're putting in is really the goal. But it's just practicing it and learning what needs to go in the mold. Okay, so let's do another.
So how much did you want? I don't know. Okay. I'm gonna just take a cup of coffee.
Okay, she is a natural level 6 with a canvas of a level 8. She has 50% gray. She wants to be a level 8 warm brown. So you're going to take the time to find steps 3 and 4. This is going to sit right here because you will need it, and then you both have books.
She has what?
Yeah.
How many gray?
50%.
50%. Canvas level
Yeah.
is 8, right?
Yep. And so her target level is an 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she wants to be.
So 8 is like 1. And she wants to be a lion bar.
That's
Oh
pretty.
wait, and she wants to be what? No, like she wants to be level 8.
This is,
She wants to be level 8 for 1 brown.
I mean, like violet brown.
We won't probably
So you can do it each. No,
And she wants to be 1. So we're gonna do this level 8.
one, please. Wait, no.
Yeah, no, that's not.
That's the gold.
I get it.
Wait, I had one that I saved. No, that's for you.
So I don't think we have to do anything if she wants to be white. Like we don't have
This
to.
one, I don't think so.
A level 8.
Oh, so
So, it is
egg.
To me. Okay.
Oh, I said
Mm-hmm.
Was that the one?
8.
Okay.
Yeah, I like
If she wants to go to 8? Oh, okay, so she's already there.
Yes, but she needs to be more. So, so this is neutral 6. So she's 6 like that. And she is 8.
Alright, Jen, I got my formula,
Good.
my numbers and everything.
Oh my goodness, what happened?
You see what number I am? I don't think I could get this until working. I'm not possible. What the hell did I do?
I don't get it.
No.
Because you have better book.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. No, it doesn't say.
Something's wrong.
Can I see your book?
I mean, I'm sure it's right. I wasn't tracking.
Yes, I was just gonna show him one more thing that I wanted to. So I look, do you like this one better?
Because they didn't.
But,
One colors.
like, stick with this one or?
Number 3. So,
Yeah?
3.
Cause she's yellow.
Right.
But she wants to be
Oh,
blonde
yeah,
though.
because 3 is gold.
Mm-hmm.
I knew my regional numbers were down.
Now she's like,
Yeah, she wants to be
I
warm.
didn't know what
Right.
the other numbers were.
Is that even?
This one is warmer. Oh yeah, that 7
So
is
she,
warm brown.
she isn't.
So maybe
She's
8
doing-
from 7.
Oh, does not help.
And there's this one. Wait,
And then,
It would be 8 on 7.
She
right?
next to
when
me.
the 50 grams.
This is not easy.
And maybe something.
It's not.
I mean, it's making more sense than it doesn't.
In school it was different.
I mean, I probably, if I had to look across the entire board, I'm probably going to look across. You know what I mean? If like those three. Like I don't really look
When
at.
one is not,
Yeah, no, but I'm saying like all the way across. You know what I mean? Every-
But then
Oh, right.
take the fact that you're.
I generally look at the first three, ones that.
right, it affects it.
Wow.
Intense
Yeah,
problem.
I'm doing this for so long.
Do you think we would still
Why would
need
that be
this
so
one?
like
And this one is 8 on 7 and it has already mentioned.
I think so. For grades. And this is for the tone. To make it warm.
But if we add this, the canvas, like the makeshift cements, it would become darker.
And this is for.
Wouldn't it?
That was,
No, because she like already natural. Okay.
Yeah. She will become more
Mhm.
darker. maybe.
No, more deep and more warm. I think she's
Like
gonna
revive?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like revive.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm like,
Do you guys?
yeah.
Sorry.
So, and we're lifting up to 3 levels, so we'll use 35.
Six. She's 6. So.
Oh.
See, it's the same, right?
So we're doing 21.
No, but it's the same, right?
It's, yeah, I mean, it's kind of like tricky. I mean, this is pure natural. So
well,
I don't know.
Like
it's
the
just
levels?
hard finding.
She's definitely
Alright, well, I'll look at these.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
have plenty of time.
See?
Alright, do we have formulas?
Yes.
What do we got?
Alright.
Let me get my marker.
Indeed, we did 80 and 897.
What was your underlying pigment?
Oh, yellow.
Yellow. Is that what you had, was yellow?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So we safely know how to find this now, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then, so you have 80 and what?
897.
Okay. What do you guys have?
We have 8 and 807.
Okay. How much of your formula is going to be 80?
What'd you
I put equal parts.
Yeah, equal parts.
That's
I did
perfect.
30 and 30 and then 6 with 20.
Perfect. These both will work. These both will absolutely work.
Okay.
Why? Why will they both work? Are they going to be exactly the same, side by side? No. But we have a level 8. We have warm brown that we're adding, a level 7. This is going to counteract some of the yellow. This one
violet
isn't,
brown.
Right.
right? It's not wrong, it's not right. They're just going to be slightly different. This one is going to have more of a orange tone. This one's going to have more of a red tone. When you're looking at the brown, if you were actually putting them side by side, and it's not going to be like red, but warm brown, the number 7, has more redness to it. So it's like red, yellow, blue plus a red. Okay, that's how where it gets the warm. So this one, you didn't do anything with the yellow. So when the red of this mixes with the yellow, it's going to have an orange. Does that make sense? And this one, you got rid of the yellow, so you left with the extra red. They're not right, they're not wrong. They're both warm brown. Just want you to understand what you're
You
creating.
really have to just see like what they show us like in the picture.
Yeah, and then and also you have to formulate and do it over and over again to know stroke 97 versus stroke 07. If this person had resistant gray hair, this might be the safer bet because you have that added neutral. And a really safe place to live is stroke 7, stroke 0, and stroke 1. You can think of those 3 as neutrals. However, stroke 0 has no reflection of any other tone and it's strictly for gray. Stroke 7 you can add warmth, stroke 1 you can remove warmth. If you start in that place and then you start diving into the 9/7s and other things, right, the stroke 1/6 and other things, you'll get more creativity. You want to do a couple more? Yeah? Your head's not too full? Okay. So we'll end at whatever, 1:30? What time is it right
I'm like, still thinking.
now? 1:20? So we'll do 10 minutes, we'll do 2 more formulas in 10 minutes, and then we'll end there, yes? Because I feel like any more your brains might explode. I get it. This class is a lot. There's usually like shut down halfway through. You guys didn't shut down. That was pretty exciting. It means you have enough knowledge before coming here. Okay, we're gonna do a red. She said, oof. I love reds. I have a lot of reds. I love that.
So I heard.
So we're gonna live in the deeper levels because reds live in the deeper levels. So if I gave you a level 9 red, you would be struggling to find a tube of color. Does that make sense? So her natural level is going to be a 4. Her canvas level is a 6. And we're going to give her a 0% of gray.
0% gray. She
Her target level is a 6. And her target color is going to be a red brown. Have fun.
Alright.
Actually, I think this is going to be our last one because I have a ton of information to give you before you go. Okay. So,
What thing are you
Other one?
Mangiamo.
The one with the color.
Let's watch it.
Oh.
I don't know, where is that one?
Yeah, where is this brochure?
You know the one that had like the different name for it?
it's in her lap.
Oh,
It's in her pile of paper. It's really easy to do.
I was
She was
like,
hiding
so
it.
focused.
She didn't want you to find your formula.
Damn.
That's fine, you
You can put it back in.
Here, I'll put it in this pile.
I have my notebook.
Or do you have it?
Target level is 6, yes?
Yes.
So she's neutral 4.
Oh, my bad. Are we good?
Oh no.
No, this
These
is
are all-
coach.
yeah.
Neat, that's
It would be here somewhere for me.
easier.
The target level is 6.
This one.
And she used to be red, brown.
Ash. The ash and
Can you put on there?
that's a red. That's not good.
Well, I'll go with the one first. This is your four. Right.
There's red and white.
Oh, that's what that would be.
Yeah, that's what I think. Or, yeah.
No, because it has to be on 6.
Alright, yeah.
Alright, where are we?
So, we want this one down.
Okay.
I would do,
We're trying to see.
I'm glad.
7 to 5.
Yeah, I was gonna make it
I feel like I'm lost
Track.
in this. Like,
What, tell me, ask me a question.
like, I'm lost because she's a 4 trying to go to 6.
Mm-hmm. Can she do that?
Yeah.
Okay, what's our undertone when we get to 6?
Orange.
Mm-hmm. Do we want to neutralize that or do we want to enhance that? What's your
Because she wants to
representation?
be red, so red.
Neutralize it?
And why would you want to neutralize it? Tell me. It's not wrong. I want to walk through
Because
what
it's-
you're thinking.
It's like violet, so you need violet. Violet is like a color.
But she's a 4 to a 6, and orange is what we're going to meet when we get there. Do you want to keep the orange or do you want to get rid of the orange? You told me
Keep
you
the-
want you want to get rid of it, so I'm asking like, why do you want to get rid of it? Because there's a right and a wrong to getting rid of it.
Because orange is 1.
Okay?
Mhm.
And what is your end result that you're going for? What's your end result? What does she want to be?
She wants to be a red brown.
Okay?
So brown is like, or would it be the opposite?
I'm not
No.
sure. I'm trying to walk through what you're thinking so that you
Mhm.
think it out and I don't give you the answer. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So, orange is made up of what 2 colors?
Orange, red and yellow. Oh, yeah, red and yellow.
Okay, so your end result you want is,
Red.
the only part of the orange you don't want is yellow.
Oh, okay. So you would keep the red.
You can keep the red. It's safe to keep the red. If you get rid of the red, you're like counteracting what you want in your end result. So you could keep the red and get rid of the yellow.
So.
So what would do that? In theory, don't look for tubes of color.
Mm-hmm.
What color would get rid of the yellow?
Violet.
So write that down. Just write violet down. You
Violet,
want some
okay.
violet because you don't like the orange. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, you've put red in your bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So now you need some violet and you need some.
Brown.
So you need to find that in tubes of color at the level you're going to.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Sorry.
But that's-
I'm getting it.
Yeah, that's okay. Your thought process was correct. It's just I'm walking you through where you're at stuck, trying to get you past that. So now see if you can find a tube of violet that you want, a tube of brown, or combined. And that's not necessarily wrong. Don't go away from where you're thinking. There's more than one way to get the end result. So
Red brown. So yeah, that's where I'm at. But
Okay,
I
that's
think
where
I
you're
wanna-
at,
I wanna
but-
add brown.
Okay, so what is this, 4-5, what does it say?
That's,
Red violet.
yes.
Red violet. So the red is for the red brown, what's the violet for?
Cancel out,
No, or
yeah,
Not necessarily orange, what does violet cancel out?
yellow,
So if you take yellow out of orange, what do you have left?
red.
And that's what you want,
Yeah.
so this is perfect,
That's what.
but look at the intensity of the 6-4-5. She wants to be red brown.
I know that, no, that's what I was just saying, I need to add some brown, so I was
So
thinking.
that's why I put no gray in here, because I was like, I don't wanna add that as a problem.
I
yeah.
was thinking, what is this? No.
There's no red brown.
Oh yeah, there was a red brown. There was a red brown,
Or left, red and brown.
this one, red, brown, red.
Yeah, you can put that.
Yeah, so then,
So if you look at the intensity of this one, and how you mix these two, it's really like, how intense are you
so then
making
what
this?
I would do less of this because it's a lot of red and more of this. So I would do,
10 grams. No, wait, no. What is it altogether? 60?
Yeah,
Something like 20 grams.
you could do 20 or 40, yep.
Yeah.
I mean, you're splitting hairs with what it would actually be when we're in theory.
Mm.
You have to apply the theory
Right,
to
right, right.
really see your end results. But
That was 45, 15, 45.
perfect.
That's how I would.
And if he did 30 and 30, his would be a more intense red and yours would be more brown.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's not wrong, it's am I getting the end result that I want to see? I err on the side of lighter, more vibrant, because when you get to the bowl, if it's too light, you can deepen it. If it's too vibrant, you can tone it down.
Yeah.
If you're not red enough, you're in trouble. Do you know what I'm saying? But these tones are gonna be in the tones that you chose. If you were like browning it out with a neutral,
No.
then I would be like, oh yeah.
But this is red, this is double red because it's,
Red
so
violet.
that's a lot of red.
Yeah, you'd be fine.
7.
And this is really pretty, the 7-4, really pretty. It's like a soft red. It's not,
With this one, that sounds like a plant.
but the 6-7-4 or the 8-7-4 are, do you know my lady, she gets the tape-in extensions by Christy. She's real sweet, Karen. I couldn't say her name because it was like, favorite Karen. No, she's real sweet. Anyway, she put 8-7-4 as her lily, and it's gorgeous. It's like a strawberry
Karen.
size.
I've seen it. I have. I know. All I know is PJ.
Hey, you can
redhead.
take pictures of those if you want.
Redhead is PJ. That's what I know. What do you use on PJ?
7744,
8.
634,
7744. Wow. And
634, and
Six.
843, I believe.
8, 4.
843 and 634 rings a bell. Okay, what'd you come up with?
Yeah, she's right.
I'm kind of stuck still, like.
Here you
Here's
go.
my phone.
The top?
Mhm.
Yep.
This
What's that bottom below?
7-4. Stroke 4.
That's 7 red.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you adding a level 7 to your target? You were fine before you added the 7.
Okay.
Get rid of that. Because your target level's a 6.
Okay.
Okay, what you got? You have 6-4, so you have red.
Mm-hmm.
What are you using for brown? You told me that you needed brown and violet, so what are you using for brown?
8. And then
8 what?
I don't know.
So why would you be 8, your target level 6?
Oh yeah.
Scratch that out of
So it'll be like
there. 6 stroke,
8 something.
stroke 8 is blue.
Mm-hmm.
Think of your,
Oh, tones. I'm like, I feel like I'm getting the like
the level and
and
the.
the tones. Yeah, I think that's one.
Where are those pieces?
I have my clients so you want to tell us
You do?
do?
Well, how late? Because I work that day too. I work at
10 o'clock,
Oh, 10 o'clock.
like class starts.
Oh, then you
Right here.
I'm not trying
So I
to stay
need
late.
red and
That, like,
No,
that
no,
was
no,
it.
she can come
You need red.
Really? Yeah, cool. She
Yes,
have a lot of hair?
tomorrow. We're gonna register.
Then you
I have
need
Fernando
brown,
and
look.
Fernando.
7,
Does she have a light?
7.
Yep.
I don't have any idea what kind of hair because that.
And then you need a
is the
violet
person that
if
I
you want to
wanna
get rid
do
of the
and she
yellow.
knows
So
somebody.
Oh,
you
okay.
could do
Because I'm gonna
a
do Jen's one too.
stroke 9.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You could do a stroke 5, which
The-
is red
Yeah, or
violet.
if Andy wants to do one.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, kind of. Now I feel like better.
Andy,
You gotta go here.
For what?
Yeah, I was like
next Monday.
really
I think
confused
so.
with
Yeah.
that chart and. Okay.
Yep, you just have to use all of your tools.
Okay.
Okay, so what formula did you have?
We had, sorry.
6, 4, 5. And 6, 7, 4.
Yep. We're gonna do 15 grams of the 645 and 45 grams of the 674 and then 20 volume. 60 to 20 volume.
Okay, this will work because it is both level 6. This is red violet. The violet's getting rid of the yellow and the orange and the red. And this is a brown red. She wants to be red brown. This will work. What's your formula?
6 stroke 4
Yep.
and 6 stroke 7.
This also will work. She did not get rid of the yellow. Some of you guys wanted to get rid of the yellow. Some of you just left it. This will work. It will have a different red hue to it because you left the orange. But orange is a base of red. So if she wants to be a little more coppery red, what did she see for red? What was the, you know what I mean? Like red is a visual. So this will work as well. What'd you come up with over there? Did you get something?
6 stroke 4 and maybe 6 stroke 7, 9. That, I don't know.
Is it
about-
7-9 or 9-7?
It matters, right? Though.
I think the tube of color is 9-7. Am I wrong? Is there a 7-9?
I don't think there's a 7, 9. 'cause I was-
There's a 9-7, so a 6-9-7 would work. Yes, that would absolutely work. You see how that works? This is a violet, that's the brown, that's her red.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's just a different way to do it. These will all be similar but different. This one's gonna be your most intense.
Like the most vibrant one.
The most vibrant, the most red, like the most bang for your buck
Yeah,
red.
But she wants a red brown.
Correct. So what does she see as red brown? Because that's what you're like, no, she wants red brown. That will be red brown. It's gonna have more pop than this one or this one.
Okay.
It's not right, it's not wrong, they will all work. It's about matching what they're actually requesting.
Yeah, and like fading too. You wanted to fade a lot or not?
So we're starting models at 10 o'clock next week. Yes? We have, do you have a model?
Not yet.
We have 3 coming in,
Oh, okay.
10:30.
Yeah, and 9. So can you come at 9?
Yeah. Like,
So
yeah.
the
I'm
first
gonna
one
do
is.
your
If, I mean,
So-
how many models are we doing? As many as we
I
can?
want you to do a retouch and a blow dry. I want to
Okay.
do at least 1 retouch and blow dry where you're going to come up with a formula. So what's coming at 9, a blow dry?
Just the blower.
Yeah, so everyone else can come at 10.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine, because your blow dry is coming at 9.
She can come at 9,
Yes, I'll be here at 9.
yeah? And at 10 I have a color. Retouch.
Margaret,
No.
you have another one.
This one, short hair that she was here. Caroline.
Oh,
Okay.
wait.
And after that I have Margaret. And after that I have Olga.
No, Olga's going to somebody else. They're
Oh.
coming at the same time.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to spread them out.
Okay.
That way, do you have a model, Andy?
David said he was gonna give me one, so.
Okay, if you don't, there's plenty for everyone to have one because we have Margaret, Olga, my mom, plus yours.
I just need to be out at a certain time because I work at 5. I'd be there at 5.
We'll be out before then.
Okay. Then
I have
get
to
dressed
pick,
and all that
I have to pick up my
craziness.
kid for 3.
Okay.
So
That's what I'm just worried about. Because last time we did model day, I was here late. But that was because of the time. But yeah, okay. If I could just do like one person.
So, yes, but we need to be, so with that, I want to talk about what that looks like. What that looks like is you are getting step 1 and step 2. You have to ask those questions. You need to figure out what their natural level is, what their target level is, where they want to go. You're going to greet them. You're going to do the 6 steps of service. So you're going to give a greeting. You're going to give the best consultation you can give. And then you're going to come to me and tell me what your plan is. If you don't have a formula at that time, that's fine. But you have to gather the information from the guest. Yes, so you're gonna set them up, and then from there, we're gonna do the retouch as neat as possible, right? Keeping them neat, clean, then shampoo, and then you're gonna do a blow dry. So that is the plan. However, I am not your instructor. This is a certification process. I'm a senior stylist supporting you. And there will be other stylists here that are growing in their own, so they'll be with us too. And then, so that's for model day. Any questions? If you have an additional model, you're welcome to bring them, but they have to be later in the day. We're not gonna double book. We're not at that place. Okay. This is for you. I want you to take it home. I want you to fill it out without looking at your notes first. So it's everything we went over today, and then some, like thought-provoking. I want you to fill it out to the best of your ability, then go and cheat and look at your notes, but see how much you actually know. So that's this. And then I have one last question. Nope, this is yours. Coming into this, I went over like lots of things, right, with the colors, but you use these things every day with your stylist. Is there something that you could be doing behind the chair every day that you would show up to this class with more knowledge? How can we support that? Because I feel like there's a lot of holes when you show up to this class with colors that you're already, like you're visibly using and seeing every day. So is there anything that could be done in the salon differently while you're being an associate that you feel like would support this?
Them explaining what they're doing. Because they just, and I'm like, okay, you know, that. So, just like quick little, this is what I'm doing, and this, or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like sometimes it's too fast, we cannot even catch up.
No, I know. And sometimes like that's the pace of the salon that day, especially this time of year. I was just thought-provoking, thinking of ways, even just me behind the chair can support differently because it is a lot. And when I see blank stares, when I say certain things, I'm like, you worked with us how long and we haven't covered that. Do you know what I mean? And not in a bad way, it's just something we could be better at. Okay, just curious. Always trying to be better.
Yeah, communication.
Okay. If we could just put the trays back, this chair here. And this here. So give me one thing you learned from really observing what's going on in the chair.
Seeing the percentage of gray on somebody, because not everybody's just the same percentage of gray.
Okay, so kind of looking at that root and really
Yeah.
seeing, just having that picture, you can go back and go how much really covered,
Yeah.
what was there.
Yeah.
Okay, what did you learn from doing this exercise?
Like the different like application process, how they apply it. Like, people have like different ways of applying their full color.
Okay. Oh, like
Like-
the actual like
like
root
root,
and different
yeah.
sectioning.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because everybody does it a little different, right? Even though we did 4, some people do 2, some people do
Yeah.
3, some people take large sections. Yeah. And they probably both do color very differently.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Because their personalities are different. One is very, like, Libby has his own way of doing things, and David is very routine. You know what I mean? So that's awesome. How about for you? What did you learn from doing this
I
exercise?
feel more comfortable writing the formula and even preparing the colors for you guys.
Yes.
Like, you are busy, so I can just, like I did last time for you.
So that was huge for me, is that I would go in the back room and she was already pulling the tubes of color and they were in a bowl ready to go, especially if I was running behind. So knowing which colors to pull, where to find the formula, that's big. How about for you?
Well, I feel like I learned a lot too. This week I put some, I restocked some colors, so I kind of try to like make sense of what as I'm doing it. So I feel like knowing where color goes really helps a lot because when you come to pulling color, it's much easier and you know where.
You know where to find it on the
Yeah,
wall.
exactly.
That wall can be very overwhelming because there's just so much.
Yeah.
So putting away color and acknowledging what I'm actually putting away
Yeah.
instead of just matching the numbers, that's huge.
Yeah,
Awesome.
exactly.
So I needed you to know how to write a formula to formulate because we have to know what tubes we're grabbing, what's going in the bowl, and what those are capable of. So this class has a lot of information. and your brain might start like stop accepting information, and that's okay if it shuts down. We can add some of the things that are missing into the other classes. But I wanted to start with the color wheel. So I want you to draw me a color wheel to the best of your ability. It doesn't have to be perfect, just put it where you think it is. If your spacing's off, your triangle isn't big enough, it's okay. Just want to see your level of knowledge with the color wheel. You need a new pen?
I have it in my book.
But I think yellow is
We ran out of regular pens.
Right.
So we'll use this black.
oh, just, oh,
I think so.
After 30. Does anybody have models today?
no, not today.
Okay.
I did have someone, but she canceled.
That's okay. I'm just making sure because
Yeah.
I'm getting a time for the cleaning lady.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what she's gonna clean, but. Okay, so this helps me to know where you are. What does the color wheel do in color? Why do we need to know it? What is its purpose?
I think one of the main reasons is for color correction. I remember kind of going over that.
Okay, so using it for color correction, for toning.
Like how to like come back like if it's like another color, what color would make it
How to balance it
like,
out.
neutralize it.
Okay. What else would you use the color wheel for? All color is based on the color wheel.
How to make
Everything you do with color is based on the color wheel. So you have to know this before you can know anything else. So I'm going to give you some cheat ways to draw a color wheel so that you could at any time kind of put that together. It's also in the book so you can look at that, but knowing how the color wheel as a tool is built and how you can use it is going to be really helpful to you no matter what color line you're using. And the hair color wheel is built a little different than the artist color wheel in the sense of if you search the color wheel, it will put the colors in their places but spun around in different spaces. In the world of hair color, we want yellow always to be at the top. And I'll tell you why. But so when you're looking, if you Google a color wheel, you don't want an artist color wheel, you want a hair color wheel because yellow is at the top. So what you want to do is draw a triangle. And on each corner, we're going to put a primary color. So what are the three primary colors? Red, blue, and yellow. So yellow is going to be at the top. Red's going to be on the left, and blue is going to be on the right. Yes, and you'll see why once we break this down. What makes it a primary color? What does that identify as? Why is it that?
Because you can mix to make secondary and tertiary.
You can mix these to make other things. And there's one primary rule about it. Can I mix red and blue and make yellow? Can I ever make yellow if I don't have yellow? So a primary color means I cannot make it. It cannot be made from any other colors. But every other color is made from these 3 colors. So, you know, a lot of times we run out of tubes of color and we start mixing things together. But if you don't have red, you cannot make red. And that's when you have to go to the store. You can't mix anything to make red. You with me? If you ran out of yellow, you can't make yellow. And so I think the concept of taking yellow, red, and blue and then turning it into a tube of color that is blonde or brown or a reddish brown or a strawberry blonde is where the disconnection happens. So we're going to tie those together. Does that make sense? Because we're not talking about like crayons on a piece of paper. So that's the goal of today, is to understand this fully and then tie that into a tube of color. Okay? So primary colors cannot be made. We must have them to make any other color. Then we have secondaries. So take and interlock a triangle this way. And we're going to put our secondary colors on the points of this triangle. So a secondary is made by equal parts of 2 primaries. So yellow and red make
Yellow, red, one.
orange. Red and blue make,
I thought she said
red and blue make
Violet.
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 And yellow and blue make green. That is a simple way of putting your primaries and your secondaries in place for a hair color wheel. And in the hair color world, it's always violet, not purple.
Yeah, that's what, there's like another word, is there another word for, is it pearl?
Cendre,
No, pearl
pearl is blue. So all the other color lines, not just Wella, all color lines, name them fun things.
Yeah,
But at its basis, what is its core color? Is it blue?
yeah.
Is it violet? Is it red? What is the core color? And if you know the core color, it doesn't matter what they named it.
Okay. And cheek.
Are you? Good. I haven't even dealt with one. I need to. That's on my to-do list today.
Is it 2 days to 2 weeks, so that's.
Oh, that's awful. I'm sorry. Okay, so then tertiary colors. Tell me what a tertiary color is.
Secondary, primary, mixed.
Secondary and primary mixed. But there's one little bit about that. Because this is a primary and this is a secondary. But if I mix these two, they do not make a tertiary. So it's a primary with its neighboring secondary. So if I mix yellow and orange, what color do I get?
You said yellow.
Orange.
If I mix yellow and orange, what do I get?
Orange and yellow.
Not orange yellow. And the reason it's not orange yellow, I'm so glad you said that. Because everyone doesn't understand this process
I don't
of
understand
the.
color at all.
Well, but I'm glad you said that, because if we never touch on it, then nobody understands this part. When you mix yellow and orange, you get yellow-orange. And I'm going to explain why.
Yellow, orange.
Yellow-orange.
Not orange, yellow.
Not
primary
because the
first.
primary is in orange, yes?
Okay, so the primary is first.
The primary is first because it is the most prominent color in that tertiary. So when I mix red and orange, what am I going to get?
Red, orange.
Red-orange. And when I mix red and violet, what am I going to get? Red-violet. And when I mix violet and blue, what am I going to get? Not violet, blue. Blue-violet, yeah. Blue-green. Blue-green. And then green and yellow. Yellow-green. So, right now, what you need to have written down or have an understanding of is a primary color, a secondary color, and a tertiary color. Yes?
Yes.
Now, you've heard this before. I know they taught it in your school. I know that you've looked at it, but it's now like really connecting the dots of what these things mean. So, the fourth type of color is probably the only one that you kept from school, which is complementary color. Complementary colors are the ones that live across the wheel from each other. What does that mean, complementary color?
Across from
They live across the wheel, but then what do they do?
Like
They cancel each other out. They also complement each other. For example, when you mix, let's take one step back for a second, because I didn't go here first. What does red, yellow, and blue in equal parts make in the hair color world? Brown. Or in the hair color world, what is brown with no warmth and no cool? Yes. So when you mix equal parts of red, yellow, and blue in the hair color world, you get neutral. So put a little N in the middle of my color wheel to represent neutral. So equal parts of red, yellow, and blue make neutral. So, because I want you to understand the why of going across the wheel, like cancels out. Okay? I used to make pre-made posters, and then everyone would just read all the information and not really take it in. So that's why I write with you, so that you can, so if it's messy, ask and I'll tell you what I mean. I used to make them neat and colorful, but then there's too much information. Okay, so neutral. Complementary colors is what we're talking about, right? So if my hair is gold or yellow, what am I going to use to get rid of it? Violet. Okay, let's break down violet, please. What two colors make violet? Red and blue. So now, what three colors do I have? If I take the violet out and I really break it down, what three colors do I have? Yellow, red, and blue, which are the primary colors, which when I mix equally, I get neutral. Yes? Okay, so if I have yellow in the hair, I have to put the missing primaries to get that. If I don't have violet in the back room, I can mix equal parts of red and blue and in theory still get neutral, right? So if I have red in the hair, what two primaries are missing? Yellow and blue. So that's why if you look across your wheel, it's green. Yes? So if I have red in the hair, I'm going to put green to cancel it out, which is equal parts of yellow and blue. So now I have red, yellow, blue. Again. This shouldn't say neutral, this should say complementary colors, sorry. Our goal is to make neutral. And so lastly, if I have orange or brass, which we probably are seeing more of with our toners, right? What am I going to put in the bowl to get rid of the orange? Blue. And don't forget that orange is made up of red and yellow. So I still have red, yellow, and blue in my end result. Yes? So when you're toning, that's probably what you're visually seeing a lot of as an associate, right? You're doing a lot of the toners at the bowl, or at least visually seeing them if you're not applying them. If the hair is yellow or yellow-orange, what are the toners that are being used? What? Violet. But tell me of something that your stylist has said to you that has been put in a bowl. Do you know?
I sometimes
It would be the tone number, right? In the color.
Yeah, what's the color itself that's been put in that bowl? Do you know? Or are you just taking a bowl that your stylist has given you, slapped it on, and you have no idea what's in that bowl?
Sometimes.
So at the end of the day, it would be helpful if you knew what was in the bowl. Sometimes it's blue, sometimes it's violet, sometimes it's blue and violet. Sometimes it's clear because we're happy with the color we have. Sometimes it's a neutral just to blend old stuff with new stuff. So knowing what's actually in that bowl will be helpful for you to start understanding toners, because your blonde can be all wrong based on your toner. And you could have done it perfectly right, and then you put that toner on, and then you screwed your whole life over. You have to remove the toner, then you have to like play a game to get it right.
Yeah.
So really start paying attention to what am I actually putting on the hair and what's happening to it. Because visually, I know you two are looking and seeing, and you saw what it was and now what it is, but what did you put on it for that to happen? That's helpful. Does that make sense? Do you two apply toners? You do. So that's what I'd like you to start participating in a little differently is, even if you don't mix it, you say, what am I putting on? And then make a note of it so that you can then visually see what happened and why. Okay, so you have to understand this to understand color. The next part of this color wheel is that it is broken down in a level system. Tell me what a level is.
Like it goes from darkest to light.
Okay?
So number one would be the darkest, 10 would be lighter.
Correct. It's a unit of measurement. What?
That's a relative to have a window, right?
No, but in the world of color there is. So we're talking a little bit of both. Fully understanding. Yes, a good point.
Depth of color?
Huh?
Color?
Depth of color, yes. So we're talking lightness of darkness. A level is a unit of measurement of lightness to darkness. So not all color lines are created equal. It's important to know what your color line that you're working with does. Not have a level 1. Level 2 is black. But that's Wella. It's the only color line I've ever worked with that doesn't have a blue.
The school, you have like one A, B,
Yep.
I've worked with level 2 before.
Like the skin? Yes. So in the world of color, naturally occurring in the hair is this ring right here. The reason I put the yellow at the top is so that you can see how the levels interact with the color. So, I want you to just number this like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So just number the outside of your color wheel, and we'll talk about how that plays a part. And you may decide to rewrite your color wheel after everything that we've added to really have a good understanding.
The tones are the ones that you lift and modulate the lines, right? That's tone,
That's undertone. That's what we're actually about to talk about.
But the
It's also called contributing pigment.
But the ones who kind of like we were talking about, that's not tone, so
That's lightness, darkness of hair. So you have level 1 through 10, right? And I put it on the color wheel. The reason I put it on the color wheel is because at a level 1, blue is the most prominent color, making a level 1. I'm going to say that again. I want you to hear the words. At a level 1, blue is the most prominent color, making a level 1. It doesn't look blue in its natural state, but that's what's making that color. Does that make sense? That's what's giving it that depth. As you move up the color wheel, that's what lives at that level. So if you've heard the word undertone, or if you've heard the term contributing pigment, depends what school you went to and what color line they used. As you lift and expose, so if you put bleach on it, you see it go through. You don't generally see these tones, right? But you start to see the rusty red, then the red orange, and the orange. You start to see that when you're lightening. If you open that foil and then you close it, you start to see that process. Every time you get to a level 7, it's going to be orange. That's the law of color. Like every time. There's never going to be a time where you get to 7 and magically it's not with natural hair color. When you're bleaching out artificial colors, you might find a green in there randomly. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about natural lift. Make sense? So that's why if you put on just a neutral 7 and they were dark before the 7, it's brassy. Because this is what's living there. And if you did nothing with this, that's what's going to show up. Does that make sense?
Can you repeat that?
So let's just say
Right.
I'm a natural 4 or 5. I don't know where it lives right now. We would have to find out, and we're going to talk about how you discover that. But if I'm a natural 4 or 5, and we put a level 7 on my root, we lift it to a 7, and we just put a neutral on it. That orange is going to show up. It's just going to be brassy. So I'm going to be like an ugly brassy 7 because I didn't do anything with the orange. It's still there.
So would you add like something like to tone it out?
Correct.
Okay.
Into your color bowl.
Into like before like doing everything.
Correct, it would go
Honestly.
in your color bowl. So when doing color, your end results are what's the hair and what you put in the bowl. And you have to know what the hair is going to do. And that's how you know, well, I'm lifting to an 8. I have yellow, orange. What am I going to put in my bowl to get rid of the yellow, orange? That's not with bleach, because bleach we lift and then we put the color back that we want. With color, we lift and deposit all in one bowl. Does that make sense? So you have to know what lives there to counteract or enhance, right? If they want to be red or they want to be strawberry, we're going to enhance these colors. But that's not the norm, right? The norm is to get rid of them. Okay, so neutral is not the only thing that goes in your bowl. And if you're living in the neutral world, it's safe, but you're not going to get the end results that you want. It's just going to cover your gray. Does that make sense? What questions do you have about this? None? It's okay if you don't, it's a lot of information. Okay, so we talked about level, and there's 2 levels. There's natural level, which is like naturally occurring out of our root, and then there's canvas level. They're different. It may be from the sun, it may be from previous color, but you need to know your natural level and your canvas level for every guess that you're coloring. How do you find that? Swatches. Which swatch? So please, there's 2 books back there. Please go find level finders. There's you guys can show them where the books are. And bring just the level finder out.
You're doing great, Jack.
Huh?
You're doing great.
Thanks.
Oh, okay. Yes, so that is called like a I-tip or a K-tip. It's a lot of work. It would be great like if you had really short hair and you kind of on the top and you just want to put it in a row, but you don't put them back to back to back to back, or it just goes like
Okay, what do we got? One of ours is falling apart horribly, yeah. Okay, good, so we can share these. I thought we had 2. Okay, so I want you to look at this, and there's the natural occurring colors, right? The levels on the top. And then above that, what do you see? That row that is not sticking out, what is that row to you? I don't even know it's labeled yet. I just know what it is.
Is it like
No, this is not.
So this is the levels. What's this?
Yeah, I think.
So is this like whatever
Contributing
the-
pigment.
And then
Contributing pigment.
Contributing pigment. So that's the same idea as this, right? When I look at the 1 through 9, 10, that's what's living underneath. That's what, if it's just raw lift. If you just put bleach and stop there, if you just put a clear color on the hair and had the capability of lifting, that's what you would see.
So like if you went to the just
So if we lifted your hair, are you all natural? Okay. So if we put, like let's say a level 5, that's what it would be if we didn't do anything about it. It would be that, like, that's why dark-haired clients have a hard time getting out of brass. That's why caramel's a good space for darker brunettes to be. Do you know what I'm saying? Because it's a pretty color as opposed to an orange. So that's what lives at those levels every time. That's the rule of color. That's not gonna change. And if you fight this rule, your end results of your color will always be wrong. Because this is what's happening in the hair. So the way that we find level is by using this on the hair. And up here is the lightest, and down here is the darkest. So this from sun exposure, and this because it doesn't see anything, right? So the best space to look for natural level is right here in the crown, kind of underneath where the sun really would, I mean, it still gets some exposure, but not like here. And you're gonna take this and you're going to fit it into the hair and find where it lives. You're not gonna eyeball it, because if you say, oh, she's a level 8 and she's a 9, your formula's wrong. Do you get what I'm saying? Some stylists will tell you that they can eyeball it. I would tell you that you don't have an experience to eyeball it. Do you know what I'm saying? You're guessing. So if you want consistent end results, it's important to know where you're starting. So come on over here, we're gonna start right here.